Hokage. My Sharingan is about to burst. Chapter 1. Uchiha Chushin stared blankly at the large table tennis racket pattern on the wall, the Uchiha family emblem, and fell into deep thought. It has been 3 years. Uchiha Chushin did not expect that he would time travel, and still travel to the Uchiha clan among the Hokage ninjas. However, you can also travel forward. What do you mean by asking me to time travel to a few years before the Uchiha Itachi clan was exterminated? Uchiha Chushin expressed a lot of pressure. Although he is a few years older than Uchiha Itachi, he really does not have the fighting talent of Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Shisui. Being a ninja really requires talent. Although in the past few years, I have relied on foresight and time travel benefits, strong mental power, to develop Sharingan into 3 Magatama, and relied on these eyes to become famous as Uchiha's duplicate eyes. The enemy was frightened by the news and gained some fame. However, my fighting talent is still incomparable with those who seem to be cheating, such as Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi. There is really no way to compare with their fighting talent. Namikaze Minato, who has no blood inheritance and no family, started to rely only on the Flying Thunder God technique to overpower the entire generation of Konoha village and become the Hokage. Uchiha Itachi, although he has Mangekyo Sharingan, he fights with his IQ, not Mangekyo Sharingan. Mangekyo is just the icing on the cake. Look at how many years he has been using Mangekyo, and he was still blind when he fought with his brother Sasuke despite using a huge amount of water. Look at his younger brother Uchiha Sasuke, how long it took for him to become blind after using Mangekyo. Needs to replace his brother's eyes to achieve eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Just look at it now. Although Uchiha Chushin is a few years older than Uchiha Itachi, and both of them are 3 Tomo Sharingan, they still can't take advantage when competing with Uchiha Itachi. You know, Uchiha Chushin is older than Uchiha Itachi. Those who reach 3 Magatama in 1 year can only draw a tie if they have physical advantages and Sharingan proficiency advantages. If they wait for Uchiha Itachi to activate the Mangekyo Sharingan, they will lose without a single confrontation. It's almost time to leave Uchiha Sasuke Jonin's school, which means that Uchiha Shisui's death and Uchiha Itachi's genocide are not far away. There is not much time left for him. At this moment, Uchiha Chushin suddenly heard a mechanical voice in his mind. In view of the proficiency in using Host Sharingan, the Sharingan upgrade system is enabled. The sudden sound startled Uchiha and he stood up suddenly. It's probably not a genjutsu. My mental power is the best even among the Uchiha clan. If it's the Mangekyo Sharingan, although I can't break free, I should be able to detect something is wrong. It's even more impossible for the Yamanaka clan, they don't have that ability. In this case, Cheat, who is a time traveler, should have received his account. Thinking of this, Uchiha Chushin calmed down and said silently, "Open the system." After groping for a long time, I finally figured out the purpose of Cheat. The purpose of the system is very simple and single, which is to help the host evolve Sharingan. The way of evolution is simpler, that is, copying and learning, the kind of learning that goes further than copying. Copying is just copying, and learning is after copying, learning, digesting, and becoming your own thing. Finally, it becomes the nourishment for Sharingan's advancement. At this stage, my Sharingan strength is enough to learn the unique pupil technique of Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Chushin touched his eyes, but he didn't expect that his cheat would come in such a timely manner. Originally, I only had the ability to protect myself, and just wanted to run away secretly before the Uchiha Itachi clan was wiped out. The Uchiha clan members only dared to secretly save a few people close to them, and did not dare to make a big fuss. Afraid of attracting the attention of Uchiha Obito and 3rd generation, Danzo. Now, since my cheat is so powerful, as long as I control it well, I should be able to save my life even if I make a big fuss. Uchiha Chushin turned off the system panel, frowned, and began to think about where he should go to learn the pupil technique next. Now, with the strength of my Sharingan, I can only copy 2 pupil techniques, 1 for each eye. Now, there are only a few people in the Uchiha clan who open Mangekyo Sharingan. Counting the time, at this time, Uchiha Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan should have opened his eyes, and Uchiha Itachi's Mangekyo should have opened when Shisui died, not yet. The remaining ones include the Mangekyo Sharingan of the clan leader Uchiha Fugaku, the the Mangekyo Sharingan of the 25th Son Toko, and the Sharingan of Kakashi, they are a pair. What I actually want most now is Uchiha Obito's Sharingan I technique. Although the attack power may be inferior, its life-saving ability is definitely top-notch, and it can store things or release people in the Kamui space. However, now even if I want to learn to copy, I can't find anyone else. Regarding Uchiha Obito's pupil technique, Uchiha Chushin could only drool secretly. He had no choice but to make plans later. Now, the best Mangekyo Sharingan to learn and master is Uchiha Shisui's. Moreover, it can be said that besides Uchiha Obito's distinguished heavenly gods, Uchiha Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods is the most powerful. It can change a person's mind without even realizing it. It can be said to be the most powerful illusion eye. There is also Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan, whose abilities were hidden deep enough until he died. Think about it, both of his sons have the ability to activate Mangekyo Sharingan, and he is also the leader of the Uchiha clan. How could he not activate Mangekyo? That leaves Uchiha Itachi and his brother Uchiha Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan. It's still early for Sasuke, and Uchiha Itachi's Mangekyo may not have been opened yet, but when he gets the news of Uchiha Shisui's death, his eyes will be opened. Therefore, the pupil technique that I am most likely to obtain now is Uchiha Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods, but it can only be used by wit, not by force. Besides, even if I want to use force, I can't beat it. Uchiha Shisui's instant appearance. Shisui's reputation is much greater than his own. He couldn't beat him before he turned on Mangekyo, let alone now. Now that I think about it, I, as a time traveler, have had a pretty miserable time, and no one can beat me. Uchiha Chushin sighed and stopped thinking about this sad thing. Now, it's time to find Uchiha Shisui and convince him to allow him to copy his pupil technique and learn the most powerful illusion, distinguished heavenly gods. Only in this way can the fate of Uchiha Shisui, Uchiha Itachi and the Uchiha clan be rewritten. I don't believe that my noble Uchiha clan will be wiped out by you silently. Uchiha Chushan secretly gritted his teeth, and 3 tomo suddenly appeared in his black eyes. The Magatama rotated faster and faster in his eyes, and the Magatama tail seemed to be connected into a line. Uchiha Choshin searched the Uchiha station, and finally found Uchiha Shisui in a remote place by the river. As the strongest member of the new generation of Uchiha, Uchiha Shisui is not only not as arrogant and domineering as the Uchiha clan, but on the contrary, Shisui people are very kind and treat others gently. When he found him in Uchiha Hill, Uchiha Shisui was sitting by the river, looking at the river quietly. Shisui, you're here again, what are you doing? Uchiha walked over and said hello with a smile. Hearing the sound, Uchiha Shisui moved his eyes from the river. When he saw Uchiha Hill, he looked at the river again. At the same time, Kaido. I just came back from a mission. Sit here, how about you, why are you here too? You are hiding here again. I am different, I have something to do and I come here to find you. Uchiha Chushin did not intend to beat around the bush and said straight to the point. Uchiha Shisui heard Uchiha Chushin's serious tone and looked at him again, and his originally calm expression became serious. What's going on? I've never seen you so serious before. Thinking of the recent tension between the Uchiha clan and the village, Uchiha Shisui thought that something had happened again, and couldn't help but raise it in her heart. Seeing Uchiha Shisui's face, as a close friend who grew up with him, Uchiha Chushin knew what he was worried about and was so comforted. Don't worry, nothing happened to the clan recently. It's me who comes to you if I have something to do. Uchiha Shisui breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. If you have something to say, just say it directly. Why are you so serious? Looking at Shisui's smiling face, Uchiha Chushin didn't say anything and directly activated the chakra to reveal 3 tomo Sharingan. Seeing Chushan directly showing Sharingan, Shisui was a little confused, wondering what he wanted to do. I saw the 3 Magatama in the Sharingan in Uchiha Hills spinning faster and faster, and some shapes were faintly outlined at the tail of the Magatama. Uchiha Shisui was shocked when he saw this, as if the biggest secret in his heart had been revealed, and he exclaimed. What happened to your Sharingan? Seeing Uchiha Shisui's appearance, Uchiha Chushin smiled with satisfaction, his eyes filled with a smile of successful prank. He did not answer Shisui's question, but slowly closed the Sharingan, looking at Shisui with smiles in his eyes, without speaking. Uchiha Shisui saw Chushan looking at him without saying a word. Knowing what he meant, he made a hesitant sound. You guessed it all. Uchiha Chushan shook his head and said, I didn't guess it, I saw it. When Shisui heard this, he shook his head in disbelief. It's impossible. I opened the Mangekyo Sharingan not long ago and it has never been shown outside. Uchiha Chushan was silent for a moment and pointed at his left eye. My Mangekyo's pupil technique is called time gap. Its ability is to see some future scenes, not many. I happened to see yours. Fragments. It sounds a bit ridiculous. At first I thought it was an illusion, but judging from your expression, it must be right. Shisui, you are indeed the genius of our Uchiha clan. Even the Mangekyo Sharingan was opened before me. After listening to what Chushan said, Uchiha Shisui thought that his Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil technique could even have such an outrageous ability as his own distinguished heavenly gods. So, Uchiha Chushan's Mangekyo pupil technique didn't seem to be difficult to accept. In fact, Uchiha Chushan has no ability to see the future. He just used the plot he knew to fool Uchiha Shisui, and his Mangekyo only appeared in advance with the help of his huge mental power and system. He just watched. Bluff, he is just a blank slate Mangekyo, without any abilities. Although Uchiha Shisui is kind-hearted, he still has the basic qualities of a strong man. He calmed down and noticed something was wrong. He looked at Uchiha Chushan and asked, based on what I know about you, you came to me not just to confirm my Mangekyo, right? Uchiha decided to give Shisui a surprise, looked into Shisui's eyes and said, I saw you died. I'm not sure when, but it should be not far from now. Uchiha Chushan saw the pupils in Shisui's eyes shrink suddenly, and his face twitched uncontrollably, and then said, a few years after your death, the Uchiha were also exterminated. Hearing this, Uchiha Shisui couldn't sit still anymore, stood up and retorted. It's impossible. Our Uchiha clan is the largest clan in Konoha village after all. We were in Konoha when Konoha village was first established. Our Konoha village is also the largest ninja village. How can it be possible to exterminate the clan just because we say it is to be exterminated? Who has the guts to do so? This ability. When Uchiha Chushan saw the excited Uchiha Shisui, he did not try to comfort him, but said something meaningful. People outside Konoha village have no abilities, but what if they are people inside Konoha village? After Uchiha Shisui heard Uchiha Chushan's words, he seemed to think of something and fell silent for a moment. His lips trembled and he asked in a hoarse voice, what else did you see? Uchiha Chushan paused and organized his words. In fact, there are not many pictures I saw. Except for some ordinary daily life, there are only a few useful ones. Your Sharingan should be very precious. I saw you lying on the ground with your eyes dug out. The third Hokage and Shimura Danzo were standing next to you. Your eyes were held by Shimura Danzo. There were many people from Anbu beside you. Uchiha Shisui didn't really believe that he would die easily after opening Mangekyo, but when Uchiha Chushan said that the third Hokage was standing next to him when he died, he thought of his Mangekyo ability and his trust in the third Hokage, as well as his viciousness. Spicy Shimura Danzo ties things up, and Uchiha Shisui pretty much has it figured out. Based on my trust in the third Hokage, I should tell the third Hokage about my activation of Mangekyo and Mangekyo's distinguished heavenly gods in a while. Even if the third Hokage cannot bear to kill me and seize the Sharingan, the ability of distinguished heavenly gods is too terrifying. If the third Hokage were to give it to Danzo, Danzo would probably advocate killing people and win the eyes, and the third Hokage would probably acquiesce. As long as you don't kill me head-on, if you attack me secretly, based on my trust in third Hokage, the success rate is still very high. Thinking of this, Uchiha Shisui couldn't help but feel that his heart was slowly sinking, and the look in his eyes became much darker. Unexpectedly, even the third Hokage couldn't tolerate my distinguished heavenly gods. Uchiha Shisui connected the cause and effect of his death, and asked Uchiha Chushan, what else? Uchiha Chushan seemed to be trying his best to endure something. His voice was hoarse, and he said word by word. The Uchiha clan has been exterminated. Uchiha Chushan's eyes were full of bloodshot eyes, and he stared at Uchiha Shisui fiercely, but Shisui knew that he was not staring at himself, but the enemy a few years later. That night, Uchiha's ninjas and ordinary clan members did not escape, and they all died. In the end, only 2 clan members were still alive. Uchiha Itachi defected, leaving only the clan leader's youngest son, Uchiha Sasuke, still in Konoha village. Uchiha Chushin did not say that Uchiha Itachi killed the entire clan. Although Uchiha Itachi told Sasuke that he killed the Uchiha clan, anyone with a brain will know that it is impossible if they think about it carefully. The Uchiha clan is the largest clan in Konoha, let alone Uchiha Itachi. Even if the generation of Hokage Senju Hashirama is alive, it is impossible to quietly wipe out the Uchiha clan without help. After hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, Uchiha Shisui fell into silence, and the 2 of them were speechless. At this time, the moon also climbed into the sky, and the moonlight shone on the 2 expressionless faces. After a long time, Uchiha Shisui seemed to accept the reality and finally spoke, asking in a calm tone. Have you ever said these things to anyone else? Uchiha Chushin shook his head. No, what I said is too shocking. Even if I say it, most people won't believe it. Didn't you go to the clan leader? If you explain to him in detail, I think he will definitely believe you. After hearing that Uchiha Shisui asked him to tell the clan leader, Uchiha Chushin simply shook his head. No, I don't believe the clan leader. Why? Because the clan leader also had Mangekyo Sharingan, and even though he died in the end, the only 2 remaining Uchiha were both his sons. Don't you think it's too coincidental? I can't judge the clan leader's position. If I tell him, I will be trapped. It doesn't matter if you go in, but there is no way to save you and your clan members. Uchiha Shisui seemed to be convinced by Uchiha Chushin, looked at him and asked. What do you need me to do? Seeing that Shisui believed in his words, Uchiha breathed a sigh of relief. After spending a long time talking, he finally convinced Shisui. It seemed that the future could still be changed. Shisui, you are the strongest of our Uchiha clan, and now you are the hope of our clan. I hope you will be more careful and don't let down your guard against anyone, especially the 3rd Hokage and Shimura Danzo, who are next to you. It's time to be more vigilant and not let down. Hearing Chushan's words, Shisui knew that he was worried about his safety, so he nodded and agreed, of course, don't worry. Also, have you told anyone about your activation of Mangekyo? Seeing Uchiha Shisui shaking his head, Chushan felt relieved. That's good, don't tell anyone that you activated Mangekyo Sharingan. Remember, it's anyone. There is no airtight wall in the world. As long as you tell one more person, it will be more dangerous. Uchiha Chushin warned worriedly. Finally, can you tell me the name and function of your Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil technique? In this way, I have an idea and can make plans and arrangements according to our specific situation. Of course, I will tell you my Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil technique first. Techniques and effects, is this okay? Shisui thought about it and felt that Chushan's request was not too much, and that for the future of the Uchiha clan, the 2 of them really needed to join forces, so he nodded and agreed. Seeing that Uchiha Shisui agreed, Uchiha Chushin breathed a sigh of relief. Having said so much and done so much, I still don't want to copy Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods. Uchiha Chushin pointed to his left eye and continued. The pupil technique of my Mangekyo Sharingan left eye is called Time Gap. It can see some pictures and fragments of the future. The disadvantage is that it is not under my control and is random. You already know this. Seeing Uchiha Shisui nod his head to express his understanding, Uchiha Chushin suddenly asked, Shisui, do you remember my nickname? Well, remember, the name is Uchiha's Compound Eye. Among the Uchiha clan, you are the best at copying the enemy's ninjutsu. Seeing that Shisui still knew his nickname, Uchiha suddenly laughed twice, pointed to his right eye proudly, and said, the name of the pupil technique in my right eye is Replication Pupil. Can you guess what its function is? The eye of copying. You were able to copy ninjutsu when you were in San Magatama, and now you are Mangekyo Sharingan. So, it should be that your ability to copy has been improved. Uchiha Shisui murmured to himself. Slowly, he seemed to be frightened by what he had guessed, and his eyes looking at Uchiha Chushin became more and more uncomfortable. Uchiha laughed twice and said with some pride, yes, as you guessed, my Mangekyo Sharingan can copy some special ninjutsu. These special ninjutsu have a special name, called Blood Inheritance Limit. In fact, the current Sharingan of Uchiha Hills has not yet reached the level of being able to copy the Blood Inheritance Limit. However, according to the system prompts, as long as the Sharingan of Uchiha Hills can copy the distinguished heavenly gods of Uchiha Shisui and successfully evolve into Mangekyo Sharingan, it can copy part of the ninjutsu of blood succession limit. Uchiha Chushin saw that Shisui seemed to be frightened by him, and scratched his head in embarrassment, and added, "Don't be frightened, you can only copy a limited number of them, it's not as exaggerated as you think." Uchiha Shisui came back to his senses and felt a little funny about his gaffe just now. I originally thought that my Mangekyo Sharingan pupil ability was already very scary, but I didn't expect that your pupil ability is no better than mine. Uchiha Shisui paused and said, "My Mangekyo Sharingan's left and right eye pupil techniques are called distinguished heavenly gods. The ability is to manipulate others at will without knowing it, and completely change them forever, thoughts and will. However, it has a big disadvantage. The cooldown time is very long. I can feel that after using my pupil technique once, I will have to wait at least 10 years before I can use it again." Speaking of this, Uchiha Shisui sighed deeply, unable to do so. I originally wanted to use this pupil technique to ease the relationship between the village and our Uchiha clan, but now it seems that I still failed and lost my life and Sharingan. Uchiha Choshin heard Shisui mentioning his Mangekyo Sharingan ability, and knew that he was one step closer to his goal. He said in a thoughtful tone, "If your Mangekyo ability is this, then, I know what to do. Can it has eased the tension between the clan and the village?" Hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, Shisui was like a drowning man grabbing the last straw to save his life. It can be said that Uchiha Shisui is the person who most hopes that his tribe and the village can live in peace. If my proposal is to let the Uchiha clan leave Konoha, Uchiha Shisui is probably the saddest one, or the one who disagrees with it the most, although the best way now is to let the Uchiha clan leave Konoha. Because Konoha village is the #1 ninja village, there are too many incidents, big and small. If nothing else, in a few years, Jiraiya's traitor will come to Konoha village to capture 9 tails. The first one to come up is a super the Shinra Tensei directly razed the huge Konoha village to the ground. Etc., etc. Therefore, the best way now is to move the whole family and leave Konoha village. Maybe the third Hokage will hold a farewell ceremony when they see the Uchiha family being so understanding. However, after the farewell is over, the Uchiha clan may be destroyed in one step. Moreover, as Uchiha Shisui who believes in the will of fire, he loves not only his people, but also the entire Konoha village. Therefore, Uchiha Shisui probably would not agree with this opinion. Therefore, the next best thing, in order to save his own life and the Uchiha clan, only by easing the relationship between the clan and the village can the Uchiha clan's fate of being exterminated be changed. Thinking of this, Uchiha Chushin asked his question to Uchiha Shisui. "Shisui, who do you want to use this eye technique on? Tell me and I'll see if it's right." Uchiha Shisui scratched his head in embarrassment. "I want to use distinguished heavenly gods on Shimura Danzo and our clan leader, so that we can ease the relationship and reduce conflicts." Uchiha Choshin heard Shisui's words and covered his head in despair. "Don't you know what the problem is? Danzo is just an enemy of Uchiha on the surface. He really doesn't trust Uchiha, and the person who can make the decision is the third Hokage. Moreover, in our clan leader is not the main war faction. The clan leader he has been mediating the relationship between the clan and the village, although the effect is not very great. The ones who really stir up conflicting emotions are the elders. Shisui, you have found the wrong person." Unexpectedly, Uchiha Shisui's fighting talent is so high, but he is not good at seeing the essence of things. Uchiha Shisui only realized how naive he was when he heard Chushan's words, and asked with some uncertainty. "So, should the target of my pupil technique be the third Hokage and the great elder?" Chushan shook his head. "Not enough. The relationship between Danzo and third generation is too close. If you change the thinking of third generation, Danzo will find something wrong before long. By then, we will have no way to go back. It's not you." Uchiha Shisui rebellion means the annihilation of the Uchiha clan. Therefore, you have to change the minds of at least 3 people at the same time before this can be done. After hearing what Uchiha Chushin said, Shisui was a little angry and frustrated and threw the stone in his hand into the river. Is there no other way? Seeing Uchiha Shisui sulking there, Uchiha Chushin hesitated, opened his mouth, said nothing, and then closed his mouth again. Seeing Chu Shan's appearance, Shisui felt a glimmer of hope again. Do you have any ideas? Given the current situation, there is nothing else you can't say. Seeing Shisui's eager eyes, Uchiha thought for a while and finally said it. Actually, my pupil technique, replication pupil, also has the ability to copy Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil technique. I didn't say it before, and I didn't intend to use this ability, so as not to make you misunderstand and think that I was spying on your pupils. Technique. Although he felt guilty for deceiving an honest person, Uchiha Chushin had no choice. Now, only Uchiha Shisui's Mangekyo pupil technique is the easiest to copy. Only in this way can his Sharingan evolve at the fastest speed. Moreover, I also intend to help Shisui. If my Sharingan does not activate Mangekyo, I will be regarded as a high-level cannon fodder at most, let alone save Uchiha Shisui's life and change the fate of the Uchiha clan being exterminated. Uchiha Shisui didn't expect Uchiha Chushin's Sharingan to be able to copy his own pupil technique. He was a little surprised at first, but he was immediately replaced by surprise. How could it be? It's too late for me to be happy. I am happy to contribute to the survival of the Uchiha clan. Although Uchiha Shisui loves the village very much, he loves his own people even more. Until his death, he was thinking about his tribe and the village. The bloodline of the Uchiha clan is very strange. People who want to pursue power are often not very strong. Those who do not want power, but only want love, instead gain the power that others can only hope for after losing love. Therefore, Second Hokage believes that the Uchiha clan is an evil clan, because the strong men of the Uchiha clan, those who opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, are basically people who have lost their loved ones, that is, they are all people who have been darkened. Seeing Shisui agreeing to his request so readily, Uchiha couldn't help but ask Shisui. Shisui, don't you suspect that I lied to you? How could it be? I believe in you. You are my best friend and someone I can trust with my life. Uchiha Shisui smiled brightly when he heard Chu Shan's words. Hearing Shisui's words, Uchiha Chushin was deeply touched and secretly swore. Don't worry, Shisui, you are also my best friend. I will definitely save your life and our family. Well, Shisui, let's get started. Now, I need you to open your Mangekyo Sharingan, so that I can copy your pupil technique. Don't worry, it will be quick, and it will not cause any harm to you. Hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, Shisui nodded, silently mobilizing the chakra in his body and flowing towards his eyes. Watching Shisui's Sharingan rotate from 3 Magatama, faster and finally outlines the shape of a 4-cornered shuriken. I have seen Mangekyo Sharingan in anime before, but this is the first time I see it in reality. It feels more mysterious and magnificent than in anime, and it has a soul-stirring power. Seeing that Uchiha Shisui had opened the Mangekyo Sharingan and was waiting for him, Chu Shan immediately opened his own Sharingan and faced Shisui's Mangekyo. When Uchiha Chongshin's Sharingan faced Shisui's Mangekyo, he only felt that his Sharingan was spinning faster, and his chakra and mental power were being consumed at a rapid rate. At the same time, the Sharingan was getting faster and faster with the rotation of Magatama. Hot, as if it were melting. Finally, when Uchiha Chushin consumed a lot of chakra and mental power and could no longer hold on, the rotation speed of his Sharingan finally slowed down, and the Magatama slowly outlined a pattern that was exactly the same as Uchiha Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Hill's Mangekyo Sharingan is finally done. When the same pattern as Shisui's appeared on Uchiha Chushin's eyes, he finally got a prompt from the system. Congratulations to the host for successfully copying the pupil technique, distinguished heavenly gods. Congratulations to the host for successfully copying the pupil technique, distinguished heavenly gods. The system is learning and digesting. It is expected to be available in 12 hours. Congratulations to the host for successfully awakening Mangekyo Sharingan. System learning and digestion have been accelerated. It is expected to be available for use in 1 hour. After getting the prompt from the system, Uchiha finally breathed a sigh of relief. He finally awakened Mangekyo Sharingan and obtained the pupil technique of distinguished heavenly gods. Finally, he is no longer cannon fodder and has the ability to protect himself. Although the pupil technique is temporarily unavailable, Chu Shan couldn't help but open Mangekyo Sharingan again. Compared with the previous 3 Magatama, Mangekyo Sharingan is much stronger than it even without the pupil technique. First of all, due to his huge mental power, he already has much more chakra than his peers. Now, after awakening Mangekyo Sharingan, his chakra has doubled. From now on, he can be regarded as a small-tailed beast and can fire map cannons without restraint. Secondly, Mangekyo Sharingan's increase in Genjutsu is simply terrifying. This may be because Uchiha Shisui's Sharingan is Genjutsu type. Therefore, Uchiha Chushin can feel that his current Genjutsu is an instant kill against people below cage level. Even cage level strong people should be careful when fighting against themselves, otherwise they will fall into trouble. The activation of Mangekyo Sharingan can be said to have comprehensively improved his combat effectiveness, from elite Jonin to cage level. Even if his combat talent is not as good as Uchiha Shisui, he can still fight with third Hokage and be defeated completely. Retreat. Moreover, I have advantages that Uchiha Shisui cannot match, that is, strong mental power and a large amount of chakra. When I become familiar with Mangekyo Sharingan and develop my own divine power, I estimate that I can directly open the second stage of Susanoo, or even the third stage. 3 stages. The combat effectiveness has been greatly improved, and he has become the top cage level expert in one fell swoop. Uchiha Chushin checked his own status and opened his eyes. The Mangekyo Sharingan, like Uchiha Shisui, was constantly turning. Uchiha Shisui's Sharingan has exited the Mangekyo state. Looking at Chushan's Mangekyo Sharingan, he sighed leisurely. Even though you've told me this, it's still amazing to see you actually copy my Mangekyo. At this time, Uchiha Chushin felt that his condition was great, and he felt like he could beat the sky and the earth and beat the air. He knew that this was just an illusion caused by the sudden increase in his chakra and pupil power. Uchiha Chushin stabilized his mentality and replied with a smile, "Shisui, thank you for this. Because I copied your pupil technique, I feel that my Sharingan has benefited a lot and my strength has also been improved a lot." Hearing Chushan's thanks, Uchiha Shisui smiled and shook his head. "I did this willingly, and besides, I didn't lose anything. Chushan, you have just awakened Mangekyo recently and copied my pupil technique. I'm afraid it will take a while to stabilize. Not only do you have to adapt to your increased strength, but you also need to stabilize your mentality. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will be harmful to you in the future. Development will have a negative impact." As someone who has experienced it, Uchiha Shisui knows that there will be a burst of strength when you first start Mangekyo Sharingan. If you don't adjust your mentality, you will easily put yourself in danger when you encounter enemies in the future. Of course Uchiha knew that Shisui was doing it for his own good, so he took a deep breath and let it out slowly. Slowly reducing the input to Sharingan chakra, Sharingan also changed from Mangekyo to Sanmagatama, and finally, Sharingan also slowly closed. Okay, next, it's time to make a plan on how to change Uchiha's ending. Uchiha Chushin thought silently. Uchiha looked serious and stared at Shisui. "Shisui, I now have the Distinguished Heavenly God's Eye technique. Now, let's discuss who should use it, and then to what extent it should be used." Uchiha Shisui nodded in agreement. "I used to think that third Hokage could be trusted, but I didn't expect that he was the person standing behind Danzo. Therefore, I think that we should use it once each on third Hokage and Danzo." Yeah, Uchiha agreed with Shisui's point of view. Third generation and Danzo are going to use Distinguished Heavenly Gods once. However, as the top management of Konoha village, we cannot change our minds too much, otherwise, it will be easy for others to let others down. Discover, don't forget, as a die-hard supporter of the third Hokage, Nara Shikaku's IQ is too high, and it is easy to find some clues, and if we change the third Hokage too much, it is easy to leave traces for the Yamanaka clan to discover. Quote, "Well, I will pay attention. For the third generation, I will only let him subconsciously ignore the Uchiha clan. At most, he will be slightly friendly. This is also more consistent with his usual attitude towards the Uchiha clan. As for Danzo, although he usually secretly it's not noticeable, but I won't change him too much. I just want to eliminate his hostility towards the Uchiha clan and make him think that the Uchiha clan is not worth mentioning. In this way, third generation and Danzo will not go too far. It's a blow to our family." Uchiha Chushin did not expect Shisui to be so thoughtful. It should be said that he is indeed a genius of the Uchiha family. Although Uchiha Shisui was fooled by the third Hokage, his IQ is not low. It can only be said that the third Hokage pretended to be too good. Now, Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi are fooled around by him. The village has decided on the candidates for the distinguished heavenly gods, and the Uchiha clan must also control the warring faction. Otherwise, even if the top management of Konoha village does not care about Uchiha, the Uchiha clan will still have conflicts with the village. Deeper and deeper. At this time, Shisui looked at Uchiha Chushan. In this case, the great elder of the clan will ask Chushan. Yes, the representative of the main war faction of the Uchiha clan is the great elder Uchiha Ling. As the great elder of the Uchiha clan, his power and prestige are second only to the clan leader Uchiha Fugaku. If he had not persistently provoked the relationship between Uchiha and the village, the Uchiha clan and the village the relationship will not be so tense and hostile. Seeing the anticipation in Uchiha Shisui's eyes, Uchiha Chushan nodded and smiled. Don't worry, the great elder's side is left to me. Compared to my side, your side is much more dangerous. Now, while the third generation trusts you more, Danzo won't be too wary of you. They won't thinking of your ability to distinguished heavenly gods can change their minds, because there has never been such an ninjutsu or ijutsu, so to prevent long nights and long dreams, we act quickly. Watching Uchiha Shisui's figure disappear into the night, Uchiha Chushan knew that Shisui was risking his life and future with this action. If it succeeds, the Uchiha clan is out of trouble. If it fails, the third Hokage will not dare to fall out with the Uchiha clan for the time being. However, Uchiha Shisui will definitely be judged as an S-class rebel nin by the third generation. Konoha village and even the Fire Country will not have him. He will be hunted to death by the village he loves. However, there are some things that you don't do and I don't do. Someone has to do it and someone has to bear the burden and move forward. It's not that Uchiha Chushan didn't think about it, but firstly, he had just opened Sharingan and could not adapt to the sudden increase in chakra and pupil power. Secondly, in Shisui's eyes, Chushan just copied a distinguished heavenly gods. There was no way taking care of both third Hokage and Shimura Danzo at the same time. Third Hokage and Danzo are wary of him. Although Uchiha Chushan has a good relationship with Shisui, he belongs to the typical Uchiha clan. Therefore, this matter can only be done by Uchiha Shisui. Moreover, Uchiha Chushan also has a mission. He needs to find the great elder Uchiha Ling. Only when both sides change their hostile attitudes can the friction between the Uchiha clan and the village be reduced. At this moment, Uchiha Chushan heard the system prompt tone. Congratulations to the host. The distinguished heavenly god's eye technique has been learned to digest. The side effects of Mangekyo are reduced, the usage time is extended, and a small amount of Mangekyo Sharingan can be restored. For the specific content, the host can check it by himself. Hearing the system beep, Uchiha Chushan couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly, and focused on his Sharingan. Uchiha Shisui's eye technique distinguished heavenly gods is so powerful that it takes a long time to recover. It takes more than 10 years before it can be used a second time. The distinguished heavenly gods copied by Uchiha Chushan, after systematic study and digestion, not only can be used more smoothly, the recovery time has been shortened from more than 10 years to half a year, but also, as long as the pupil technique and Susanoo are not used frequently, Uchiha Chushan's Mangekyo Sharingan is almost can be used for a lifetime. Very good. In this case, even if I can't get eternal Mangekyo in the future, I don't have to worry about being blind. Now, my pupil technique, distinguished heavenly gods, is ready, and it's time to visit our beloved Great One. Elder. Since the border of the Fire Country has not been very peaceful recently, and the surrounding neighbors are still a bit irritable, as the leader of Konoha village, third Hokage has a relatively heavy workload. At this time, it is normal to work overtime. Uchiha Shisui certainly knows where to find the third generation. As the saying goes, the simpler the plan, the less likely it is to go wrong. Therefore, Uchiha Shisui plans to go directly to the third Hokage. Since the pupil technique of distinguished heavenly gods is very hidden, as long as there is no Hyuga next to the third Hokage, the people of the clan are always staring with blank eyes. Uchiha Shisui is very sure that the third Hokage will fall into his own distinguished heavenly gods without knowing it. Of course, third Hokage is not a pervert, and it is impossible for the Hyuga clan to watch him all the time. So what is the difference between him and a pervert without clothes? Normally, Hokage only has 1 or 2 teams of Anbu on standby. Uchiha Shisui was very fast, otherwise he would not have the title of Shisui. He quickly came to the downstairs of Hokage, stopped, and said loudly, no different from when he usually visited Hokage. Uchiha Shisui has important information, please pay a visit to Lord 3rd Hokage. After saying that, he stood there quietly without saying a word. At this time, in the Hokage building, the 3rd Hokage was still smoking a pipe in front of the table and looking at the documents. When he heard Anbu reporting to Uchiha Shisui for an audience, he put down the documents in his hands. Uchiha Shisui just returned to the village this afternoon and handed in the mission. Now he came to see me at this time. It seems that either he missed important information on the mission and forgot to report it, or something happened to the Uchiha clan. Let Uchiha Shisui in. The 3rd Hokage took the pipe out of his mouth and blew out a stream of smoke. Seeing Uchiha Shisui walk in, 3rd generation was in a trance, as if seeing its friend Uchiha Kagami. As a descendant of Uchiha Kagami, Uchiha Shisui not only inherited Uchiha Kagami's talent, but also had a similar appearance. Uchiha Kagami, don't blame me. In fact, I don't want to target the Uchiha clan. However, there are too few people in the Uchiha clan who inherit the will of fire. I have no choice. Since it can't be used for me, I can only let it slowly disappear. 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen thought silently. Seeing Uchiha Shisui come to the front of the desk, 3rd generation calmed down and asked with a smile before he could speak. Shisui, you just came back from a mission and you are still not resting at this time. Do you come to me with something important? Are there any changes in the Uchiha clan? Uchiha Shisui knew that 3rd generation had not doubted him yet, so he knelt down on one knee, propped up one arm on the ground, lowered his head and said, I'm telling Master Hokage that everything in the clan is well and good. It's my own private matter, and I came to you to resolve my doubts. 3rd generation was relieved to hear that the problem was not with the Uchiha clan, and asked with a smile. If you have any questions, please tell me. After all, I have lived longer than you, so I know more. Uchiha Shisui heard what 3rd Hokage said and replied. Sir Hokage, I don't know what happened recently. My Sharingan has some problems. I don't know whether it is good or bad. I feel uneasy, so I came to you to see if you can take a look. When the 3rd generation heard Uchiha Shisui's words, he couldn't help but feel nervous. As the longest living Hokage, he had heard the name of Sharingan of the Uchiha clan for many years, and his master, 2nd Hokage Senju Tobirama, had told him. The Sharingan of the Uchiha clan is not just as powerful as it is now. 3 Tomo Sharingan is not his end. Only the genius among geniuses in the Uchiha clan can open the Mangekyo Sharingan. The Sharingan opened by the legendary Uchiha Madara is the Mangekyo Sharingan. Mangekyo Sharingan takes most of the credit for the great power he achieved. However, it is not yet known whether Uchiha Shisui's Sharingan is the opened Mangekyo Sharingan. However, Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen is confident in his vision. He believes that Uchiha Shisui inherited his will of fire, and Shisui is still under his control. The 3rd Hokage waved to Anbu who was waiting next to him, and asked them to wait outside the room. If Uchiha Shisui really awakens Mangekyo Sharingan, then he will be a big killer in his hands, but he cannot spread this news, let alone Danzo know. 3rd Hokage remained calm. After all the Anbu staff left, he nodded and said, Shisui, open your Sharingan, let me help you check if there is anything wrong. Seeing that 3rd Hokage was not suspicious, Uchiha Shisui secretly clenched his hand and replied respectfully. Okay, Lord 3rd Hokage. Uchiha Shisui raised his head, his eyes met the 3rd Hokage, and he opened the Sharingan. The 3 Magatama in his eyes turned faster and faster. Soon, the Magatama were connected end to end, and slowly turned into it looks like a 4-pointed shuriken. The 3rd Hokage looked at Uchiha Shisui's Sharingan and was shocked. Although it was the first time he saw it, the 3rd Hokage was very sure that Uchiha Shisui's eyes were the legendary Mangekyo Sharingan. Just by looking at it, he could feel a strange feeling. Breathtaking pressure. At this moment, Uchiha Shisui suddenly secretly increased the output of his pupil power, and the pupil technique, Distinguished Heavenly Gods was quietly activated. Without third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen noticing, the distinguished heavenly gods quietly and quickly invaded his brain and changed his thoughts. At this time, as long as Uchiha Shisui is willing, the leader of Konoha village and the leader of the entire ninja world, one of the supreme leaders, third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, will become his slave, and his command, Uchiha Shisui, will be the supreme directive of the third Hokage. However, he is Uchiha Shisui, a person who loves the village and his people. Although the third Hokage is somewhat aimed at the Uchiha clan, how could Uchiha Shisui enslave this elder who dedicated his life to the village? What's more, the current fire the country is not at peace either. If Shisui changes the third Hokage's mind, it may bring terrible disaster to the village and people. Therefore, Uchiha Shisui just used this opportunity to ask the third Hokage to ignore the Uchiha clan and stop targeting them. In this way, the Uchiha clan will be preserved and the village will not fall into disaster, such as war. The third Hokage looked at Uchiha Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan. He felt dazed for a moment, then came back to his senses. He didn't care. He looked at the pattern of the Sharingan carefully and said, "Okay, Shisui, put your Sharingan away. I've already looked at it. Do you think there are any other changes to your Sharingan besides the pattern?" Uchiha Shisui took advantage of the situation and put away the Mangekyo Sharingan. Kaido was still respectful. "Back to Master Hokage, since my Sharingan has changed, my chakra has increased a lot, my illusion ability has also been greatly improved, my observation skills have become much sharper, and the power of my ninjutsu has also improved to a certain extent." Uchiha Shisui has discussed with Uchiha Chushin. Except for hiding the pupil technique contained in Mangekyo Sharingan so as not to arouse the fear of the third Hokage, other things have been told truthfully. By the third generation's measure, a cage-level strongman can still be tolerated. What's more, this cage-level strongman is still a member of his third Hokage. The third Hokage heard Uchiha Shisui's words and couldn't help but feel a little emotional. It turns out that Uchiha Shisui's strength is among the top among Jonin. With his extraordinary fighting talent and superb illusion ability, he earned the name of Shunken Shisui. Now, Mangekyo Sharingan has been activated again, and his strength has suddenly become a cage-level powerhouse. As the third Hokage, I am not sure that I can suppress him. The Uchiha clan is indeed the first-class blood family in the ninja world, and it is too easy for Sharingan to improve their strength. However, the third generation is very reassured about Uchiha Shisui. As a descendant of Uchiha Kagami, he has inherited the fire will of the Hokage lineage, and the third generation has grown up watching it. He is indeed reassured about Uchiha Shisui's character. I believe that under his tireless brainwashing by Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uchiha Shisui cannot escape from his grasp. It seems that ideological education needs to be strengthened in the future. Thinking of this, third Hokage showed a kind smile on his face. "Shisui, you are indeed Mangekyo Sharingan. That's great. In this way, we in Konoha village have added another cage-level strongman. At this time, it is the time of turmoil on the border of the land of fire. I am so happy that you can grow up. You know, as long as there are leaves flying, there will be fire burning, and the fire will shine on the village, and then new leaves will sprout again. Shisui, we are the burning leaves. Even if we die, there will still be countless descendants who will inherit our legacy and make our Konoha village even more glorious." Quote. Uchiha Shisui heard third Hokage's words. Although he knew that he was bewitching him as before, he was still very touched in his heart. "Although I love my village, I also love my people." Uchiha Shisui could only say sorry to third generation silently in his heart. However, on the surface, Uchiha Shisui is still the same as before, as if he has found a soulmate, and his face is very excited. "Yes, Master Hokage, as long as our village can prosper and future generations can be happy, even if we die, it will be a worthy death." The third Hokage looked at Uchiha Shisui with a kind face. He still recognized his will of fire very much as before, and couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. Knowing that Uchiha Shisui had just returned from completing a mission, and that this kind of thing was too much, he stopped as soon as it was good, and finally gave the following instructions. "Okay, Shisui, you should be tired too, go back and rest. However, don't let too many people know about your activation of Mangekyo Sharingan. This way, you can also save a lot of trouble." Uchiha Shisui respectfully Kaido, Okay, Hokage-sama, I understand. Seeing third Hokage waving to him, Uchiha Shisui made a fist and saluted, and walked outside. After seeing Uchiha Shisui withdraw, third Hokage continued to process the remaining documents. Suddenly, third Hokage stopped writing in his hand, and his brows gradually wrinkled. He looked at the document in his hand about reporting Uchiha's police brutality in law enforcement, and decided to treat Uchiha more favorably, and no longer put all the blame on the police as before. In this way, I can better win over Uchiha Shisui. Thinking of this, third Hokage wrote down his own instructions. As everyone knows, he was also affected by some other influences. After Uchiha Shisui left the Hokage building, he rushed towards the Uchiha tribe. Just when he was about to arrive, Uchiha Shisui suddenly turned a corner and rushed towards a remote place outside the village. The third Hokage is going very well here. In order to prevent long nights and nightmares, Uchiha Shisui decided to go to Shimura Danzo immediately. As long as the Danzo, who has always hated the Uchiha clan and held the root, is solved, most of the problems will be solved. The rest is up to Uchiha Okuyama. Uchiha Choshin didn't know that Shisui had already taken care of the third Hokage. On his side, he had just arrived at a residence in the Uchiha clan's land that was relatively close to the Uchiha clan's ancestral temple. This residence is much larger than the average residence of the Uchiha tribe, and is comparable to the residence of the chief of the Uchiha tribe. This is the residence of Uchiha Ling, the great elder of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Chushin came directly to the courtyard and said loudly, "Has the great elder rested?" Uchiha Chushin has something to ask for. After a while, the voice of the great elder Uchiha Ling came from inside the house. "Chushan, it's so late, what's important? Come in and talk." The great elder still admires Uchiha Chushin. As a genius as famous as Uchiha Shisui, although he is closer to Uchiha Shisui, his character is not like Shisui. He is ambitious and can be won over. Uchiha Chushin opened the door and entered the room. He saw a tall, white-haired, energetic old man sitting behind a low table, looking at him seriously. Uchiha Chushan nodded and said, "Chushan has met the great elder." The great elder nodded, motioned Uchiha Chushin to sit down, reached out and poured him a cup of tea, then picked up the teacup in front of him and took a sip of tea before finally speaking. "Why did you come to see me so late?" After hearing the great elder's words, Uchiha Chushin put down his teacup calmly. "Chushan is here for the future of the Uchiha clan." The great elder heard the hidden meaning of Uchiha Chushin's words, and his face that had been relaxed suddenly became tense. "Why, you also think that the Uchiha clan's current predicament has something to do with me?" "Yes, please forgive me, great elder. I think the relationship between our Uchiha clan and the village is too tense now. If this is the case, something will happen sooner or later." "Ha." The great elder chuckled twice with an expressionless face. He stopped mentioning this topic and instead started talking about other things. "Chushan, do you know how Konoha village came to be?" Returning to the elder, Chushan knows a thing or two. At first, the village was jointly established by the Senju clan and our Uchiha clan. Later, we were joined by Hyuga, Yuan-Fei, Shimura and other clans, and it gradually formed what it is now. Konoha village. The great elder looked at Uchiha Chushin with a slightly different look inside. "You are very good. There are not many young people like you who know history now." Chushan is just more interested in the past, so he knows more. The great elder ignored Uchiha Choshin and continued. "I think at the beginning, Konoha village was founded by the Uchiha clan led by Uchiha Madara, our Uchiha ancestor, and the Senju clan led by Senju Hashirama, the leader of the Senju clan. Originally, Senju Hashirama wanted Madara-sama to be the next Hokage. Later, Madara-sama didn't know what happened. The reason was given up, and Senju Hashirama became a generation Hokage. Later, Master Madara had a falling out with the first Hokage, and they fought in the Valley of the End. In the end, she was killed on the spot by the first Hokage. Not long after the first Hokage came back, he also died. Senju Tobarama, the younger brother of the first Hokage, took over and became the second Hokage. The second Hokage thought it was Madara-sama who caused the first Hokage to pass away early, so he targeted his Uchiha clan everywhere. You know, Konoha village was established by our Uchiha clan and the Senju clan. Without us Uchiha, where would the current Konoha village be? If you look at these generations of Hokage, they are all from the Senju clan, and there would be no Uchiha clan at all. Share. Quote. Having said this, the Great Elder was very excited and seemed to be furious. So, you feel uncomfortable and think that we, the Uchiha clan, should be in charge of Konoha village. The Great Elder sighed. I also know it's impossible, but I can't let go of this feeling in my heart. Look at what Yuan Fei's clan is now. A mere small clan has actually taken the position of Hokage. Quote. As he spoke, the Great Elder raised his hand and slapped the table angrily, causing some of the tea in the teacup to splash out. Looking at the angry Great Elder, Uchiha Chushin smiled helplessly. It seemed that the Great Elder could not make sense here and had to use the last resort. After the Great Elder's mood stabilized, Uchiha Chushin said, Great Elder, I came to you this time not only because I want to persuade you, but mainly because there is something wrong with my Sharingan. As an elder of the Uchiha clan, you know more, so I want you to help me. Have a look. After hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, the Great Elder put down his teacup and looked at Chushin. I saw Uchiha Chushin open the Sharingan, and slowly activated it. The three Magatama in his eyes turned faster and faster, and slowly turned into a Mangekyo Sharingan with the same four-cornered shuriken pattern as Uchiha Shisui. The Great Elder looked at Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchiha Hills. His expression was a little dazed, a little excited, and a little unbelievable. He clutched the teacup tightly in his right hand and murmured, Finally, we have appeared, we, the Uchiha clan, have finally appeared. The Mangekyo Sharingan finally appears. As he spoke, the Great Elder's eyes gradually became moist. Uchiha Chuyama came and planned to use distinguished heavenly gods directly on the Great Elder. Unexpectedly, the Great Elder was so excited when he saw his Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Chushin thought for a while and gave up using distinguished heavenly gods for the time being. He wanted to hear what did the Great Elder say. After a long time, the Great Elder Uchiha Ling finally recovered and said with a self-deprecating smile. I'm old, and I still cry, which makes Chu Shan laugh. Uchiha Chaoshin asked his question. Why is the Great Elder so excited? Is it just because of my Sharingan mutation? Great Elder Uchiha Ling shook his head. Your Sharingan is not a mutation, but an evolution. It is a higher level Sharingan than the three-tomo Sharingan, called Mangekyo Sharingan. Having Mangekyo Sharingan, do you know what it means? Although Uchiha Chushin knew it in his heart, he couldn't say it because he couldn't tell where he knew it, so he had to shake his head in cooperation. Well, I don't blame you, because our Uchiha clan has not seen Mangekyo Sharingan for a long time, and because our ancestor Uchiha Madara is the owner of the famous Mangekyo Sharingan, our Uchiha clan will not promote Mangekyo Sharingan within the clan. Sharingan, it's normal for you younger generation not to have heard of it. So, was our ancestor Uchiha Madara so strong because of Mangekyo Sharingan? The Great Elder nodded. Part of it is, but the reason why Uchiha Madara is strong is not just because of Mangekyo Sharingan, but also because he is Uchiha Madara. However, Mangekyo Sharingan is also a very powerful blood successor. As long as Mangekyo Sharingan is activated and given a period of time to grow, he will become a Kage-level peak powerhouse. What about Uchiha Madara? Is he also a Kage-level peak powerhouse? Master Uchiha Madara. Master Uchiha Madara has certainly surpassed Kage-level experts. He is as famous as the first-generation Hokage Master Senju Hashirama. There were memories and pride in the eyes of the Great Elder. Super Kage-level strong man. Yes, those who have surpassed Kage-level and can easily defeat Kage-level strong people or Super Kage-level strong people. This is also very rare in the history of our Uchiha clan. Hearing the Great Elder's praise of Uchiha Madara, Uchiha Chushin pointed at himself. What about me? I have also awakened Mangekyo Sharingan. Can I reach the heights of Lord Uchiha Madara? When the Great Elder heard Uchiha Chaoshin's words, he seemed to have come back from his memory, and looked at his Mangekyo Sharingan again. A gratified smile appeared on his usually serious face, and he nodded. It will definitely happen, Chu Shan. You are still young. Lord Uchiha Madara has not awakened Mangekyo Sharingan at your age. As long as you work hard, you will definitely become the next Uchiha Madara, or even surpass him. Uchiha Chushin knew that he had systematic help and it would be a matter of time before he surpassed Uchiha Madara. However, when he heard the Great Elder's words of encouragement, he still felt an indescribable touch in his heart. The Great Elder Uchiha Ling was sitting next to the table. He seemed to have thought of something, and his face changed several times. Finally, his face became serious again, and even his tone of voice became very serious. Uchiha Uyama. Uchiha Chushin saw the Great Elder's face and knew that it was a very important matter, but he didn't dare to deal with it. He straightened up immediately and his face became serious. Here, what are your orders from the Great Elder? The Great Elder straightened his figure. I, Uchiha Ling, in the name of Great Elder Uchiha, promise you that from now on, as long as you do not betray the Uchiha clan, I will definitely support you and help you become the leader of the Uchiha clan. The Great Elder said in a serious tone, word for word. Uchiha Chushin was a little shocked when he heard what the Great Elder said. I haven't used distinguished heavenly gods yet. How could the Great Elder become like this? When the Great Elder saw Uchiha Chushin's surprised expression, the corner of his mouth curled up, revealing a smile. Chushan, you still underestimated the Mangekyo Sharingan of our Uchiha clan. Do you know how precious the Mangekyo Sharingan of our Uchiha clan is? It is not only a symbol of strength, but also represents your potential to grow into a strong person. It is also a symbol of our Uchiha clan. A symbol of blood purity. As long as a clan member has opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, it not only represents his talent and potential, but also represents that he is the purest bloodline of our Uchiha clan. Therefore, as long as a clan member can activate the Mangekyo Sharingan, it means that he has the potential to compete with the clan leader and is the leader who is destined to lead the clan to glory. Quote. Uchiha Chushin was indeed a little surprised when he heard the words of the Great Elder. Although he had read the original work, the Uchiha clan at that time was killed by Uchiha Itachi. He did not know these things at all. After all, the Uchiha clan came from Sage of Six Paths. It has been passed down from generation to generation, and after so many years of ups and downs, how could it not leave something behind? Uchiha Chushin digested the Great Elder's words for a while, and looked at the Great Elder's eyes looking at him expectantly, and his heart moved. Great Elder, what if I have a request? Can you do it? The Great Elder laughed and said cheerfully. Isn't it just to restrain the tribesmen and reduce the conflict between them and the village? Even if you don't say it, I will do it. The Great Elder saw the puzzled look in Uchiha Chushin's eyes and replied. Today is different from the past. Now, your Mangekyo Sharingan has just started, and your strength will have an explosive period. Moreover, Mangekyo Sharingan is not as simple as you think. It not only improves your chakra volume and observation ability, but the most important thing is that every Mangekyo Sharingan has a kind of pupil technique. Compared with ninjutsu, Mangekyo's pupil technique is either much more powerful, or its ability is weird and unpredictable. The most powerful pupil technique may involve space and ninjutsu. Time, there is no powerful blood inheritance limit, it is completely unsolvable when encountering this kind of pupil technique. Of course, Mangekyo's pupil technique only ensures that you have the upper hand when fighting cage-level strong men. Finally, it is to develop the divine power of Mangekyo Sharingan, Susanoo. Quote. Speaking of this, Uchiha saw the Great Elder's face full of enthusiasm, as if Susanoo was his lifelong belief. The Great Elder looked at Uchiha Chushin. Susanoo, our Uchiha's ultimate Mangekyo pupil technique. At that time, Madara-sama developed Susanoo to the 4th stage of its miraculous skills, so that it could compete with Senju Hashirama, known as the god of ninja. Therefore, in the past few years, your strength has exploded. After a few years, you will be able to use your eye skills skillfully, and you have developed Susanoo to the limit. By then, there will be no one in the entire Konoha village who can compete with you. Those who contend, that time is the time for us, the Uchiha clan, to stand up. Quote. Uchiha Chushin heard the words of the Great Elder and secretly felt ashamed in his heart. Unexpectedly, the Great Elder had such high expectations for him. It seems that he must work hard to develop and master Susanoo as soon as possible. In this way, his own strength only then can there be a qualitative improvement. If you want to fight me, if you don't agree with me, I will drive the Gundam, so I ask you if you are afraid. Seeing the attitude of the Great Elder, Uchiha Chushan felt relieved. The Great Elder Uchiha Ling was unexpectedly dealt with. Not only did he get his support, but he also saved a distinguished heavenly gods. Now, it's time to pay a visit to the clan leader, Uchiha Fugaku. As the leader of the Uchiha clan and the father of Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke, he must have opened the Mangekyo Sharingan but be extremely careful. However, it now seems that he should not have told the Great Elder about opening Mangekyo Sharingan. Otherwise, the Great Elder should have supported him early and would not have gone against him. After bidding farewell to the Great Elder, Uchiha Fugaku rushed directly to the center of the clan. As the clan leader, of course, Uchiha Fugaku must live in the center, and it is the largest one. The Uchiha clan's territory is not too big. Uchiha Chushin rushed to the clan leader's residence in a matter of seconds. Since he was delayed for a long time with the chief elder, Uchiha Chushin had already had some time when he arrived at his destination, the clan leader's courtyard. It was late, there were no lights in the courtyard, it seemed that Uchiha Fugaku had rested. I haven't slept yet, how can you sleep? Uchiha Chushin complained silently in his heart. Skillfully climbing over the gate, Uchiha stood in the courtyard and said in a low voice. Lord Patriarch, Uchiha Chushin has something to see you. The matter is urgent. Please atone for your sins. Uchiha Okuyama's performance begins. Although Uchiha Chushin's voice is not loud, Uchiha Chushin believes that with Uchiha Fugaku's basic qualities as a cage-level ninja, he will definitely be able to react and respond. Uchiha Chushin only waited for a short moment before hearing Uchiha Fugaku's answer. Come in. Hearing Uchiha Fugaku's voice and receiving permission, Uchiha Chushin was not polite and walked into the tea room where the patriarch usually entertained guests. After Uchiha Fugaku entered the room, he found that Uchiha Fugaku had put on a kimono and was sitting upright, obviously waiting for his arrival. Uchiha Fugaku still attaches great importance to the arrival of Uchiha Chushin. After all, he is as famous as Uchiha Shisui, a genius ninja of the Uchiha clan. Although he may not be his opponent now, he is also the high-end combat power of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Chushin also sat down and was about to speak. At this moment, a beautiful woman with a slim figure and a beautiful face wearing a kimono walked in with a tea tray in hand. The beautiful woman didn't say anything. She served them hot tea and refreshments, nodded to Uchiha, and then left. Uchiha Chushin thanked him and waited for the patriarch's wife, Uchiha Makoto, to exit before he began to speak. Uchiha Chushin plans to repeat his old tricks. He is not afraid of old tricks, as long as they are easy to use. Master Patriarch, Chushan came here this time to report something important. There are many people during the day, so I had to come late at night to disturb you. Uchiha Fugaku nodded, expressing understanding. If there is anything important, just say it directly. As your clan leader, this is my responsibility. Uchiha Okuyama gets straight to the point. Chushan came here this time because there seemed to be some changes in my Sharingan. The patriarch also knew that my parents had passed away a few years ago. If this kind of thing happened, no one could discuss it, so I had to come. Sorry for the trouble, Mr. Patriarch. Uchiha Fugaku took a sip of tea and waved. What are you talking about, Chushan? As the leader of the Uchiha clan, and you are the elite ninja of our clan, it is my responsibility as the clan leader to solve your problems. Chushan, open your Sharingan and let me take a look at it for you. Quote. Uchiha Chushin was not polite and opened the Sharingan directly, and revealed the Mangekyo Sharingan to Uchiha Fugaku. Of course Uchiha Fugaku knew about Mangekyo Sharingan, but he didn't expect that Uchiha Chushin could open Mangekyo at this age. When the pattern of Uchiha Chushin's Mangekyo Sharingan was revealed, Uchiha Fugaku was not mentally prepared at all. He was directly shocked and stood stunned on the spot. Uchiha Fugaku was afraid of long nights and many dreams, so when Uchiha Fugaku was surprised and unprepared, he immediately activated the Mangekyo Sharingan and released the pupil technique, Distinguished Heavenly Gods. Uchiha Fugaku, as the owner of Mangekyo Sharingan, when Uchiha Chushin activated Mangekyo and released the pupil technique, he immediately felt bad and did not bother to hide his Mangekyo Sharingan. He immediately activated Mangekyo to resist the invasion of the brain, pupil technique. However, distinguished heavenly gods, which is known as the strongest illusion, cannot be resisted with resistance. Just when Uchiha Fugaku had just revealed Mangekyo Sharingan, distinguished heavenly gods had already invaded Uchiha Fugaku's brain like a beast and modified it. His inner thoughts changed his will. From then on, his thoughts as Uchiha Fugaku were the highest instructions of Uchiha Fugaku. After feeling the success of distinguished heavenly gods, Uchiha breathed out slowly and finally relaxed. Don't look at Chushan easily controlling Uchiha Fugaku with distinguished heavenly gods, but that's because Uchiha Fugaku is unprepared and doesn't know that Uchiha Chushan has such a heaven-defying pupil technique as distinguished heavenly gods. Otherwise, Uchiha Fugaku is also the owner of Mangekyo Sharingan. Not only does he have much more combat experience than Uchiha Chushan, but he is still in the prime of life and has basically no weaknesses. If Uchiha Chushan hadn't had an information gap, how could he be like this? Succeeded easily. Just when Uchiha Fugaku was first controlled by the distinguished heavenly gods, his wife Uchiha Makoto walked in from inside, not knowing whether she felt the movement in the tea room or simply felt something was wrong. Husband, what happened just now? I seem to feel a wave of chakra just now. Are you okay? As Uchiha Makoto speaks, Uchiha Fugaku has been transformed by the distinguished heavenly gods. He slowly closed the Mangekyo he had just opened, picked up the teacup and took a sip of tea, and answered with the same tone and attitude as usual. Makoto, it's okay. I was checking Chushan's Sharingan just now. You can go and rest first. I still want to discuss things with Chushan. The patriarch's wife, Uchiha Makoto, would never have imagined that in such a short time, her husband's thoughts would have been enslaved by Uchiha Makoto. Okay, I'm going to rest first, Chushan-kun, I'm sorry. Uchiha Makoto bowed and turned around to go back. Uchiha breathed out a relaxed breath and wiped the non-existent cold sweat on his forehead. It was so dangerous just now. As long as he made a slight mistake, Uchiha Chushan would have no choice but to consider defecting. However, risks and rewards are directly proportional. Now, I control Uchiha Fugaku, and the Great Elder also supports me. This is equivalent to the Uchiha clan having the final say now. So, now is the time to reap the rewards. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Uchiha Fugaku. The clan leader was still sitting upright, looking at him with a calm expression. You know what happened, right? Uchiha Fugaku nodded. You enslaved me and changed my thoughts so that I am completely loyal to you now. My life and death depend entirely on your thoughts. Even if you ask me to do anything, including suicide, I will not hesitate. Do it, and I won't have any complaints against you. What you just used must be Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil technique, right? I didn't expect your pupil technique to be so powerful. I have no ability to resist at all. However, I remember that your Sharingan should be biased toward copying. I didn't expect that the awakened Mangekyo the pupil technique turns out to be the top illusion technique. I can't use any backup skills I reserved. Quote, speaking of this, Uchiha Fugaku shook his head regretfully, as if it was a pity. When Uchiha Fugaku heard Uchiha Fugaku's words, cold sweat immediately broke out on his back, and he was filled with fear. He didn't expect that at this time, Uchiha Fugaku actually had a backup plan. Uchiha Fugaku seemed to see what Chushan was thinking, smiled and comforted. Don't worry, your pupil technique makes me completely loyal to you, and I will not do anything detrimental to you. The backhand I left behind has been released. Chapter 11. Although Uchiha Choshin used the pupil technique to enslave Uchiha Fugaku, he still respects him very much. Master Patriarch, can you tell me what other backup plans you have? After hearing what Uchiha Chushin said, Uchiha Fugaku nodded and explained. Chushan, do you know the forbidden technique that belongs exclusively to our Uchiha clan? Uchiha Chushin guessed. Susanoo. Although Uchiha Fugaku was surprised that Uchiha Chushin knew about Susanoo, he still shook his head. Susanoo is the power of God that belongs only to Mangekyo Sharingan, but it is not the forbidden technique. The forbidden technique that belongs to our Uchiha clan is Izanagi. It is a technique that can change my destiny. It can change all the techniques that are not good for me. Even if I die, as long as I set Izanagi in Sharingan in advance, and when I set the time Izanagi activates, I can be resurrected. I felt something was wrong when you activated the pupil technique. Just in case, before you controlled me, I set up Izanagi and Sharingan to resurrect myself after a while and eliminate the opponent. All the odds against me. Unexpectedly, your pupil technique makes me willingly obey your orders and prohibits me from doing anything that is detrimental to you. Because the Izanagi I set before is not good for you, so I had to cancel it. Hearing Uchiha Fugaku's explanation, Uchiha Chushin was terrified, knowing that he was on the verge of failure and defection. The person who can become the leader of the Uchiha clan is indeed not an easy person. If I was lazy and left loopholes when using distinguished heavenly gods, Uchiha Fugaku might be able to make a comeback. Izanagi belongs to the forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan, because no matter how heaven-defying the effect of using it is, the price after using it is that the user's Sharingan will be permanently blind, so it is listed as a forbidden technique by the Uchiha clan. Clan leader, I just saw that your Mangekyo Sharingan has been activated. So, what is its pupil technique? Uchiha Chushin actually cares most about the evolution of his own Sharingan. With the help of the system, he can copy other people's Mangekyo pupil technique, turn it into your own use. Uchiha Chushin understands that except for his own strength, everything is fake. Now that Uchiha Fugaku has been controlled, of course, he must copy his Mangekyo pupil technique. My Mangekyo pupil technique, my left eye is illusion, instant space, which can bring the enemy's spiritual body into the illusion space in my eyes. In the world of my eyes, the enemy has no ability to resist me, and it seems like it has passed in the outside world for a moment. In fact, a month has passed in my illusion space. However, it can only be used once a day. Uchiha Fugaku began to talk about his ability to use the pupil technique. It seems to be Uchiha Itachi's pupil technique, an enhanced version of Tsukuyomi, but it seems not as good as Tsukuyomi's ability to control space and time in Tsukuyomi's space, but the time is longer than Tsukuyomi's. Uchiha Chushin touched his chin and listened to Uchiha Fugaku's story. The Mangekyo eye technique of the right eye is Izanagi. Hearing Uchiha Fugaku's words, Uchiha Chushin almost jumped up. How could it be possible? It was simply unbelievable. Uchiha Fugaku didn't care about Chushin's reaction. The function of Izanagi has already been told to you. However, as my Mangekyo's pupil technique, its side effect is no longer blindness, but can only be used once a month. Moreover, compared to ordinary Izanagi, my pupil technique was activated for a very short time, otherwise, it would not have been set up in an instant just now. Uchiha Chushin put his hand on his forehead. Sure enough, you can't underestimate the people of the world, let alone the Uchiha clan. This is simply cheating. No wonder there are only a few members of the Uchiha clan left in the future, and the ninja world is not peaceful. To avoid long nights and many dreams, Uchiha Chushin decided to copy Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo pupil technique now, so that his Sharingan would soon be ready for upgrade. Chief, open your Mangekyo Sharingan and don't resist. Uchiha Chushin ordered. Okay. Although Uchiha Fugaku didn't know what Chushin wanted to do, he opened his Mangekyo directly. Seeing Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan, Uchiha Chushin suppressed his joy that he would soon be able to obtain the pupil technique again, and also opened his own 3-tomo Sharingan. Because I want to copy Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo's eye technique, I can't open Uchiha Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan. Shisui's Sharingan's eye technique is Distinguished Heavenly Gods. If I want to copy Uchiha Fugaku's eye technique, I can only open it from 3 Magatama begins. Uchiha Chushin matched his 3-tomo Sharingan with Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo. He saw the 3 Magatama in Chihaoshin's eyes turning faster and faster. Soon, his 3-tomo Sharingan slowly transformed into the same pattern as Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo, and Fugaku's pupil techniques, Phantom Realm, Instant Space, and Izanagi, were also copied by Uchiha Chushin. At this time, it is equivalent to copying the potential, heritage and characteristics of Uchiha Fugaku Sharingan and integrating them with the potential, heritage and characteristics of Uchiha Shisui's Sharingan. Because, Uchiha Chushin's system is not only to copy Mangekyo's pupil technique. If he only copies the pupil technique, it will only make Chushin's eyes deteriorate faster the more he uses them. Only when he copies the pupil technique, it will also bring the potential of his Sharingan. Only by copying the heritage and characteristics can the Sharingan of Uchiha Hills be upgraded and have a broader space for development. Uchiha's Sharingan is divided into Genjutsu eyes and compound eyes according to their characteristics. The representative of Genjutsu eyes is Uchiha Shisui. After Uchiha Choshin copied Shisui's Mangekyo pupil technique, he also copied the characteristics of his eyes, making Uchiha Chushin his illusion ability has been greatly enhanced. The representatives of the compound eye are Uchiha Uyama and Uchiha Obito. Needless to say, Uchiha Uyama and Hatake Kakashi later earned the title of Copy Ninja Kakashi, with the Sharingan given to him by Uchiha Obito. Therefore, in the future, as long as Uchiha Choshin copies more Sharingan, his Sharingan will gain more potential, characteristics and heritage. The system can use these things as nutrients for Uchiha Choshin Sharingan to upgrade and evolve. There is no need to transplant other people's Mangekyo Sharingan. It does not require Hashirama cells to help him continuously upgrade Sharingan into Mangekyo Sharingan, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Rinnegan, and Magatama Rinnegan. And just when Chushan copied Uchiha Fugaku Mangekyo's pupil technique, slowly closed the Sharingan, and breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, Itachi passed through his back. The sword penetrated his chest, and at the same time, it also penetrated his beating heart. Things happened too fast and suddenly. Before Uchiha could react, he only felt a chill on his back and sharp pain in his heart. Then he watched helplessly as a bloody Itachi penetrated his chest. There are many things like this. Everything went smoothly before, and when you were about to achieve your goal, something suddenly happened that caught you off guard. Uchiha Chushin opened his mouth to say something, but his lips trembled a few times, but still no words came out. His body, which had been sitting upright, slowly became rickety. Uchiha Chushin felt that he had no strength all over his body. Slowly, his body unable to hold on any longer, he fell to the side, revealing a slim figure standing behind Uchiha Chushin. When Uchiha Makoto fell down, he also let go of his tight grip on the sword. Maybe it was because he was too nervous, and his fingers were trembling slightly. Her face turned a little pale, and the three Magatama in her eyes moved slowly. Chushin-kun, I didn't want to kill you originally, but if I don't kill you, I can't guarantee that Fugaku can recover. He is my husband, the father of my 2 children, and the leader of the Uchiha clan, so in order to be sure, please go to hell. Uchiha Makoto seemed to say these words to Uchiha Chushan, and seemed to be convincing himself. After saying these words, his trembling body slowly regained his composure, turned around and walked towards Uchiha Fugaku. Uchiha Makoto lay weakly on the ground. He knew where he had made a mistake when he heard Uchiha Makoto's voice. He underestimated others, and underestimated Uchiha Makoto. He thought that he could control Uchiha Fugaku, but he didn't expect that Uchiha Makoto had discovered something was wrong long ago. When he was most relaxed, he killed him with one strike, and he didn't even have a chance to come back. No. Uchiha Chushin felt cold all over his body, and his eyesight turned black. He knew that he didn't have much time left for him. Now, the thousands of ninjutsu I have learned cannot save me, and my Mangekyo cannot save me, distinguished heavenly gods. It's an illusion. It can only be used on others, and it can't save yourself. You can only rely on the system and the Izanagi you just copied. Just when Uchiha Choshin opened Mangekyo and planned to use Izanagi, the system's notification sound completely crushed his hopes. Friendly reminder to host. The pupil technique, Izanagi, is being learned and digested, and is expected to be available for use in 1 hour. System, after 1 hour, I'll be out cold, and I'm still using a hammer. Uchiha cursed desperately. At this moment, the system seemed to know the critical situation of Uchiha Choshin, and the reminder sound kept reminding him. It has been detected that the host's life is in danger. The system has suspended the learning and digestion of the pupil technique, illusion, instant space. The learning and digestion of the pupil technique, Izanagi, has been strengthened. It is expected to be completed in half an hour. It has been detected that the host's life safety has been threatened. The system is operating at full capacity to speed up the learning and digestion of the pupil technique, Izanagi. It is expected to be completed in 10 minutes. It has been detected that the host is in danger. The system is overloaded. Strengthen the learning and digestion of the eye technique, Izanagi. It is expected to be completed in 5 minutes. Please host, hold on, as long as you persist, there is hope. Please host, hold on, as long as you persist, there is hope. Uchiha Chaoshin heard the system's notification sound constantly ringing in his mind, and it seemed that the system was also getting anxious. I couldn't help but complain in my heart. It's a useless system. I can't last 5 minutes, so you can't hurry up. Uchiha Chaoshin felt that his eyes were dim, and his consciousness was slowly slipping, falling into the bottomless abyss. The sound of the system is still echoing in my ears. At this moment, Uchiha Chushin heard a voice, which seemed to resound throughout the entire world of Uchiha Chushin, tearing apart the darkness and bringing a ray of light. Izanagi. When Uchiha Fugaku came back to his senses, he saw that he was still sitting at the table, and next to him was Uchiha Fugaku, who was raising a cup of tea, as if everything that had just happened was an illusion. The only difference from before was that there was a tachi placed next to the table, as if someone had randomly discarded it there, and next to Uchiha Fugaku, there was a person lying down, as if he had fallen asleep. Uchiha Fugaku touched his body and found that the wounds on his body were gone. He knew that all this might be related to Uchiha Fugaku, so he looked at him. Uchiha Fugaku put the teacup on the table and looked at Uchiha Chushin. This is the power of Izanagi. It can change all the fate that is not conducive to you according to your own wishes. Just now, Makoto saw that I was under your control and thought that by killing you, I could get away from you. In fact, she doesn't know that even if she kills you, my consciousness has changed and I can't escape your control. I'm really sorry, but I almost killed you because of Makoto's recklessness, so I knocked her unconscious and used Izanagi to change everything. Quote. Hearing Uchiha Fugaku's explanation, Uchiha Chushin couldn't help but touch his chest in fear. It was here just now that the tachi penetrated through. Uchiha Chaoshin stabilized his mind and began to think about the solution. Now, Uchiha Makoto now knows that he controls Uchiha Fugaku. However, Uchiha Makoto, as the wife of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan and the mother of Uchiha genius Uchiha Itachi, if she suddenly disappears, it's too eye-catching, but if Uchiha Makoto is not allowed to disappear, how can we ensure that the news that he controls the clan leader will not spread? At this moment, Uchiha Fugaku suddenly said, Master Chushan, can you still use the pupil technique that you just controlled me with? If so, I hope you can use it on Makoto. In this case, the news that I am controlled by you will not be spread. This will be beneficial to you, no. He will be feared by the clan members and the higher-ups of Konoha village. Hearing Uchiha Fugaku's words, Uchiha Chushan nodded in agreement. In fact, in Chushan's heart, the remaining, distinguished heavenly gods he had other uses. However, looking at Uchiha Makoto lying there with a slim figure and good looks, he could only comfort himself in his heart. It seems that there is no other way. I can only use distinguished heavenly gods on Makoto. I have no other way. Uchiha Chushin thought as he walked towards Uchiha Makoto. The Uchiha clan has always produced handsome boys and beauties, and Uchiha Makoto was a famous beauty of the Uchiha clan back then. Although she is now over 30, the years have not left many traces on her body, but she has gained some mature charm. In order to prevent the news of Uchiha Fugaku being controlled from spreading, Uchiha Chushin had no other choice but to control Uchiha Makoto as well. Chushan picked up Uchiha Makoto from the tatami, and used the healing jutsu with his right hand to wake Makoto out of his coma. When Uchiha Makoto woke up, just opened his eyes, and was still a little confused, he faced the Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Hill. Before Uchiha Makoto could figure out the situation, the distinguished heavenly gods of Uchiha Hill were activated. A special force silently invaded her brain, changing Uchiha Makoto's thoughts and will. She will obey Uchiha Chushin's orders from now on, and Uchiha Makoto will eventually be controlled by Uchiha Chushin. Uchiha Hill slowly closed the Mangekyo Sharingan, and at this time Uchiha Makoto's consciousness also woke up. When he saw Uchiha Chushin, he immediately got up and no longer yelled at him to kill him. Instead, he knelt on the ground and lowered his head to Uchiha Chushin. I'm very sorry, Master Chushan. I was rude just now and caused harm to you. Please forgive me for my rudeness. Hearing her voice, he was very frightened. Uchiha Chaoshin looked at Makoto with his head lowered there. It seemed that he would not raise his head anyway without his own permission and forgiveness. He couldn't help but feel very satisfied with the distinguished heavenly gods pupil technique. In the original work, Uchiha Shisui's distinguished heavenly god's ability was so heaven-defying, but it was not used in the right place. One was used by Shimura Danzo in the Five-Cage Conference and was exposed in person, and the other was used to help Uchiha. Itachi's impure world reincarnation was out of control, and it felt like although it had some effect, it was all used in trivial matters. In this world where the most disloyal people are, if you want to ensure that you are not betrayed, of course you still have to use distinguished heavenly gods. Seeing that Uchiha Makoto was still kneeling there with his head bowed, and Uchiha Fugaku next to him was silent and had no intention of helping to plead for mercy, Uchiha Chushin had no choice but to let Makoto get up. Get up. I don't blame you. We have different positions. It is inevitable. You must work hard to do things for me in the future. I will forgive you this time. After hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, Makoto finally raised her lowered head, and the tears in her eyes finally fell down. Thank you, sir. I will definitely go through fire and water in the future, no matter what. I will do my best to complete your mission. Looking at Uchiha Makoto's pear blossoms with rain, even the hard-hearted Chushan can't help but feel a little overwhelmed. Had to change the topic. Where did Uchiha Itachi and Sasuke go? With Uchiha Makoto's experience, Chushan felt the need to investigate these unstable factors. If Uchiha Itachi noticed any clues, he would be a huge security risk to Uchiha Chushan based on his intelligence. Hearing Chushan mention Itachi and Sasuke as their mother, Uchiha Makoto's expression couldn't help but become gentle. Back to my lord, Itachi has received a mission and has been out of the village for the past few days. As for Sasuke, he is sleeping in his bedroom. Chushan breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that Uchiha Itachi, whom he cared about most, had gone out to do a mission. As long as Itachi wasn't at home, he was sure that nothing would be noticed when he returned. As for Sasuke, with his age and talent, Chushan is reassured that nothing will go wrong. Now that things are almost settled and there is no one who can stop Uchiha Chushin, it is time to get down to business. Uchiha Chushin asked Fugaku and Makoto to sit down and began a formal conversation with the clan leader. Lord Patriarch, do you know why I use the pupil technique to control you? Uchiha Fugaku shook his head. It's not very clear. However, if an ambitious person has a pupil technique like Master Chushan, then it is understandable that he uses the power of pupil technique to control some leaders or people with higher status. After hearing what Uchiha Fugaku said, Uchiha Chushin shook his head. Although Uchiha Fugaku was now taking orders from him, Chushin still explained it clearly to him. Patriarch, my interest has always been to pursue strength and various methods to improve strength, rather than to pursue power. If there was no other way, I would not take the risk to control you and the Patriarch's wife. Uchiha pointed at his eyes and said meaningfully. My eyes can see much further than yours. Uchiha Fugaku is not an idiot either. He seemed to have thought of something and blurted it out. Can your eyes see the future? Chushan nodded. Almost, I can see fragments of the future. With that said, he told Fugaku what he had told Uchiha Shisui before. It's about the tragic death of Uchiha Shisui and the annihilation of the Uchiha clan. After Uchiha Fugaku heard Chushan's words, he couldn't believe that such a thing would happen in the future. He sat there blankly, unable to recover for a long time. Is what I did wrong? Shouldn't I be close to the third generation in Konoha? Shouldn't I, like the great elder, intensify the conflict with Konoha? Only in this way can I preserve the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Fugaku is a little confused about the future of the Uchiha clan and doesn't know what to do. What he has always believed is that as long as the gap between Uchiha and Konoha can be reconciled, the Uchiha clan will be able to completely integrate into Konoha village sooner or later. Uchiha Chushin saw Uchiha Fugaku getting into the horns, and couldn't help but shook his head. It was wrong from the beginning. You know, who was in charge of Konoha village all along? Of course I know. The Hokage family has always been in power in Konoha. One generation, second generation, third generation. Our Uchiha family has never been in power. Uchiha Fugaku replied. Yes, it has always been the Hokage line. Uchiha Chushin nodded. Then do you know who has the final say in Konoha village now? It's the apprentices of the second generation, third Hokage and Shimura Danzo. They have inherited the legacy of the second generation and have been guarding us and isolating us. As long as they are in power for one day, Uchiha, there will be no chance of success. Uchiha Fugaku quickly asked, then what should we do? There are two ways. One is to break away from Konoha and let us, the Uchiha clan, build a village ourselves. That way there will be no problem. The second way is to delay. If you can, delay. When the cooldown time of my pupil technique has passed, I can control all the higher-ups in Konoha, or control the people below. In this way, Konoha village will be what we say. It's not that we are isolated, it's that we isolate others. In fact, Uchiha Chaoshin knows very well that everything else is secondary. The most important thing is to improve his strength. As long as his strength reaches the Super Kage level, or Six Paths level, then he will easily suppress anyone who is not convinced. Now, you don't need to care about other people's opinions at all. At this moment, the system that was useless at the critical moment finally had a voice. Congratulations to host, the pupil technique, illusion, instant space, has been learned and digested. Congratulations to host, the pupil technique, Izanagi, has been learned and digested. Host Mangekyo side effects are further reduced, use time is increased again, and Mangekyo Sharingan is enhanced. Please ask host to learn the specific situation. Quote. Ding, it has been detected that the host's Mangekyo Sharingan has been strengthened. The host's own Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique has been conceived in advance. It is expected to be completed in 8 hours. Please wait patiently. Hearing this, Uchiha Chushin was also relatively happy. Although he still had to wait, his own pupil technique was about to be released. Then, Uchiha Chaoshin immediately began to check the pupil techniques he had just obtained, illusion, instant space, and Izanagi. Uchiha Chushin was looking forward to Izanagi very much. It was the forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan. It was the forbidden technique that could rewrite fate and reverse cause and effect. Unexpectedly, Uchiha Fugaku, who was not very showy, actually gave himself a big move. After reading it, Uchiha Chaoshin was still very satisfied. Although the power of Izanagi has not been strengthened, the cooling time has been shortened. Compared with Uchiha Fugaku, which can be used once a month, the cooldown time of Izanagi has reached 3 days after systematic learning and digestion by Chuyamas, Izanagi, and the blessing of Mangekyo Sharingan, who is much more powerful than Uchiha Fugaku in Chuyama. It can be used once, and its practicality is greatly enhanced. The cooldown time of the pupil technique, illusion, instant space, is gone. As long as your chakra is enough, you can give it to a group of children. Also, because Uchiha Chushin copied and learned the Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Fugaku, after digestion, Uchiha Chushin's Mangekyo Sharingan is much more powerful than the ordinary Mangekyo Sharingan. It is estimated that when his Mangekyo pupil technique is conceived, it will reach the limit of the pupil technique that Mangekyo Sharingan can possess. Other people's Mangekyo Sharingan can only have one pupil technique for one eye, but Chushan's one eye has 3 pupil techniques. When the Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Hill reaches its peak, you can plan and find ways to achieve the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Although Uchiha Chaoshin's eyes have not yet reached the level of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, his observation, copying and illusion abilities are far superior to the average Mangekyo Sharingan. After checking the system's information about Mangekyo, Uchiha Chushin looked at Uchiha Fugaku and his wife who were still waiting for him, and then ordered them. Chief, we only have these 2 directions now. Moreover, even if we Uchiha want to leave Konoha, it is not that easy. We have to take our time. We can first secretly move some clan members out and build a small village. Uchiha Shisui can also ensure the safety of his tribe by bringing people to guard it. The most important thing now is to appease the emotions of the tribe. I have already gone to see the Great Elder. He promised to be patient in the past few years. When I grow up, my strength will reach the peak of Kage level, and can even reach Super Kage level. Even if we don't control the 3rd generation, it's up to us whether we want to leave or stay. Quote. In fact, in the original work, Uchiha Shisui trusted the 3rd Hokage too much and told the 3rd generation about his eye skills, and the 3rd generation told Danzo, only to be set up a trap by them. As a result, Uchiha Shisui was killed by them before he could fully grow up. Totally ruined. And Uchiha Itachi was so miserably deceived by the third Hokage's will of fire that he thought he was doing everything for the village. He didn't even think about it, that his relatives, his tribe were gone, and everything he cherished was gone. Well, then, is this village still our own village? Whether or not this village exists has anything to do with me. In the end, only his poor Auto was left in the village as a hostage. After discussing the future development of the Uchiha clan with Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Chushin finally felt relieved. In this way, as long as no big accident happens to the Uchiha clan, it should not be annihilated. After finishing the business, Uchiha Chushin also relaxed. He felt that this adventure was to control the clan leader. Although the process was full of twists and turns and he almost died, the harvest was gratifying. Not only did he control the Uchiha Fugaku couple, but also included the Uchiha clan in the palm of my hand, and also gained 2 good eye skills. This purpose can be said to be successfully completed. And just when Uchiha Chushin was about to leave, he was left by Uchiha Fugaku and his wife. It was already late at night. Even if Uchiha Chushin went back, he lived alone. As the patriarch, Uchiha Fugaku had nothing else, but the house was it as the largest among the Uchiha tribe, so there is no problem in staying in the Uchiha hills overnight. Uchiha Chushin was lying in another room of the bedroom. Although it was almost midnight, he was not sleepy at all. I didn't feel it just now, but now in the dead of night, I feel a little scared. He was too reckless and came without any preparation. This was the closest he had come to death. The feeling of powerlessness, fear, gradually blurring consciousness, and the feeling of falling into the abyss, Uchiha Chushin felt that he had been there all his life. Can't forget. Uchiha Chushin secretly reminded himself that he must be fully prepared in the future. His life comes first, life is priceless. Just when Uchiha turned over and was about to fall asleep, he suddenly heard someone approaching the door and immediately became alert. At this time, there were only Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Sasuke in the house. The Fugakus had been conquered by him, and Sasuke is still a little kid and cannot threaten him. However, Chushan still did not relax his vigilance. Who is it? The visitor did not expect that Uchiha Chushin noticed her before she knocked on the door. He paused for a moment before answering. Mr. Chushan, this is me. It's already midnight. You must be hungry, so I will give you some food. When Uchiha Makoto heard that it was Uchiha Makoto, he felt relieved and opened the door. I saw Uchiha Makoto standing at the door very handsomely, holding a tray full of food in her hands. She was wearing a very thin kimono, which showed her bumpy figure. Maybe it was because the clothes were too thin, and the front was faintly visible. About 2 small dots were highlighted, and when he saw Uchiha Chushin looking at him, Makoto's face turned red, and there seemed to be stars twinkling in his eyes. Uchiha Chushin was stunned, and when he saw Uchiha Makoto still standing at the door, he immediately let her in. When Makoto passed by him, Chushan seemed to smell a faint fragrance. I saw Uchiha Makoto kneeling at the small tatami table and placing the snacks brought there. Looking at Uchiha Chushin from behind, the tight-fitting clothes made her beautiful figure even more curvy. After Uchiha Makoto put things away, he saw that Uchiha Chushin was still standing at the door and did not come over, so he quickly greeted him. Mr. Chushin, you must be hungry too, come here and try my handiwork. As he said this, he poured a glass of sake for Uchiha Chushin. Uchiha Chushin came to his senses when he heard Makoto's greeting. Seeing that Makoto had laid everything out, he was indeed a little hungry, so he was not polite, sat over and ate these pretty good-looking snacks, and Uchiha Makoto knelt down next to him, recommending the snacks he made to Uchiha, while helping him fill up his finished wine glass. Is it hard, Chushan-kun? Uchiha Makoto said while helping Chushan pour the wine. Uchiha Chushin paused and looked at Makoto with doubtful eyes. Ever since Lord Chuyama awakened the power of the eyes that can predict the future, Lord Chuyama has taken up the fate of the Uchiha family. He worked hard back and forth to change the fate of Uchiha and risked his life. In the end, he was almost killed by me, Mr. Chushan, I'm really sorry. As he said that, Uchiha Makoto burst into tears again and almost started crying. Uchiha Chushin put down his wine glass and looked at Uchiha Makoto with a confused expression. He didn't expect her brainstorming ability to be so powerful. He could only comfort him. It's okay, madam, this is what I should do as a member of Uchiha. Since Uchiha Makoto thinks so, Chushan doesn't have the nerve to refute. Should I tell her that I was actually ready to run away? There is no intention of fighting to the end. At the same time, Uchiha Chushan also understood the reason why Makoto came to him alone, to apologize for almost killing him just now. The night got deeper and deeper, and the wine became stronger and stronger. After finishing the bottle of sake brought by Uchiha Makoto, Chushan became a little drunk. Seeing this, Makoto also packed up the things on the tatami and helped Uchiha Chushan to the bed. Uchiha Chushan was lying on the bed in a daze, vaguely feeling that Makoto turned off the light, and then there was a rustling sound. Immediately afterwards, Chushan felt a soft body come in, and his mouth and nose were filled with the intoxicating body fragrance. Uchiha Chushan woke up from the drunkenness immediately, became nervous and asked stammeringly. Madam, what do you mean? Uchiha Makoto's voice is very gentle. Chushan-kun, don't you know? This is a way for me to show my allegiance to you. Moreover, I came here with Fugaku's consent. As he spoke, he picked up Uchiha Chushan's hand and placed it on an unobstructed peak. Also, this is Makoto's apology for what happened just now, Mr. Chushan. Hearing this, Uchiha Chushan's hand seemed to be uncontrollably grabbed. The early morning sunlight shines into the room through the window, and the early bird chirps by the window. Uchiha Chushan slowly wakes up. I was really tired yesterday. Not only did I have to run back and forth, but I also experienced life and death. In the end, I had to toss for half the night, so I slept very deeply. The sun shone on Chushan's face, waking him up from his sleep. Uchiha Chushan slowly regained consciousness and felt something pressing on him. Chushan slowly opened his eyes. What came into his eyes was the dazzling white snow and the turbulent snow peaks, with a touch of bright red on them. Uchiha Chushan also understood what was pressing on him. Seeing that Uchiha Makoto hadn't woken up yet, and looking at the messy room, Uchiha Chushan suddenly remembered the battle last night. He had 5 battles and 5 victories, killing the enemy until they were unable to resist. Finally, he retreated with his troops. Both fell asleep. When Uchiha Makoto was still young, he happened to meet Uchiha Makoto in his prime. How could he control it? The best thing about it was that one spring, he would meet again when the flowers were falling. Uchiha Chushan stretched out his hand to Makoto again. Makoto seemed to feel something. He opened his eyes in confusion and saw Chushan's movements. It seemed that he still didn't understand what he was doing. Chushanjin, Makoto. Uchiha Makoto is still a little confused. Let's give Sasuke a little brother. When Uchiha Chushan saw that Makoto had woken up, he was no longer polite and lifted the quilt. After the morning exercise, Uchiha Chushan left Uchiha Fugaku's home directly, and was too embarrassed to say hello again. After all, although Uchiha Fugaku agreed, Chushan would inevitably be a little embarrassed when facing him. The early morning sun was soft and warm. Uchiha Chushan hurried towards the river. That was the place he and Uchiha Shisui had agreed upon. They were divided into 2 groups. Regardless of success or failure, they had to gather here to inform them of their progress and discuss the next action plan. When Uchiha Chushan arrived, Shisui was already waiting there. Chushan didn't know whether Shisui succeeded, but Shisui looked a little embarrassed and tired. He probably hadn't rested all night. Uchiha Chushan felt a little embarrassed when he saw Shisui's tired look. After all, compared to Shisui's tiredness, he had had a good night's rest and was looking very energetic. Uchiha Shisui cheered up when he saw Chushan's arrival. When he saw the energetic Chushan, he felt confident and said straight to the point. Chushan, how is the plan going? Have you used the pupil technique on the Great Elder? Hearing Shisui's words, Uchiha Chushan shook his head deliberately, his voice a little low. I did not use distinguished heavenly gods on the Great Elder. Uchiha Shisui's heart skipped a beat when he saw Chushan shaking his head, and when he heard him say that he didn't use the pupil technique on the Great Elder, he couldn't help but show an anxious look on his face. Uchiha Chushan saw Shisui's expression and stopped teasing this honest man, with a smirk on his face. However, I have convinced the Great Elder, and the Great Elder has agreed not to encourage hostility between the tribe and Konoha village in the past few years. Uchiha Shisui heard Chushan's words and knew that Chushan was teasing him just now. However, the elder's stubbornness and temper were famous in the clan. Uchiha Shisui didn't know what Chushan had done without using distinguished heavenly gods, the persuasive elder. Regarding Shisui's doubts, Uchiha explained the process in detail, and also told him the Great Elder's importance to Mangekyo Sharingan and the reason why the Great Elder agreed. Uchiha Shisui heard what Chushan said and understood the Great Elder's attitude, and finally felt relieved. It wasn't until Uchiha Chushan finished speaking that Shisui sighed. I didn't expect that the Great Elder would value Mangekyo Sharingan so much and would change his position for it. Uchiha Shisui looked at Chushan with a smile. Chushan, the things you do are much better than mine. It seems that I will listen to your opinions more in the future. Your strategy and overall view have always been better than mine. In addition, your eye skills and your vision are better than mine. Both your skills and your abilities are greater than mine. Wherever the Uchiha clan can go, it all depends on you. Don't worry, I will fully support you. Quote, when Chushan heard Shisui's sigh-like words, he lost his joking mood and calmly looked at Shisui's expectant eyes and nodded heavily. Don't worry, everything will be fine. After receiving Uchiha Chushan's assurance, Shisui breathed a sigh of relief, as if he had put down a heavy burden in his heart, and then informed Chushan of his progress. I went to see third generation last night. Third generation was very confident in me, so things went very smoothly. According to your request, there was no major modification of third generation's consciousness. It was just a slight modification to reduce the number of people. The importance and hostility towards the Uchiha clan increases the goodwill towards the Uchiha. Also, I told third generation about my awakening of Mangekyo Sharingan. It was through this incident that the performance of distinguished heavenly gods was so smooth. Uchiha Shisui saw Chushan gently tap his chin to show that he knew, and then continued with a slight frown. Later, I went to look for Shimura Danzo at the root base. I don't know if he was too wary of me or if he really wasn't in the village. I waited at the root base all night and didn't see Danzo. Later, I was afraid that he would be there again. Staying here will arouse his alertness, so he will come back. Uchiha Chushan sighed secretly when he heard Shisui's narration. He knew that things would not go so smoothly. You know, Shimura Danzo is a root standing in the dark. He is not as concerned as the third Hokage, and the roots he controls are all planted with the Tongbane root seal, which is very confidential. If Shimura Danzo is hit by Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods, is not a slight modification of the mind like third generation, but controlled like Uchiha Fugaku. In that case, it is equivalent to controlling Danzo's roots. However, there will be opportunities in the future. Unless Shimura Danzo, the big scourge causing trouble everywhere, is controlled or eliminated, Uchiha Chushan will not be able to sleep peacefully. However, Uchiha Shisui also tried his best. It can only be said that Shimura Danzo is too cunning, and Shisui cannot be blamed for his lack of ability. Uchiha Chushan comforted. It's okay. As long as the third Hokage's attitude towards us Uchiha changes, even if Shimura Danzo wants to deal with us, he will be blocked by the third generation. After all, the leader of our village is still the third Hokage, and he still has the final say on matters in Konoha village. As for Shimura Danzo, we will deal with him later. If we look for him too frequently recently, it will definitely arouse his vigilance. After hearing Chushan's analysis, Uchiha Shisui nodded in agreement. Then we have accomplished more than half of our planned goal. As long as there are no major changes, we, the Uchiha clan, can basically live in harmony with the village. Well, and there is an unexpected gain. Uchiha Chushan decided not to hide it from Shisui and told him about his control of Uchiha Fugaku. Seeing the questioning look in Shisui's hand, Uchiha continued. I used distinguished heavenly gods to control the patriarch. Chushan looked up at the sky, a little embarrassed. After all, he had said before that Uchiha Fugaku was not a big threat and did not need to be controlled. Unexpectedly, he would control him next. Before Shisui could ask a question, Uchiha Chushan continued to explain. Although the patriarch has a friendly attitude towards the village, his temperament is too indecisive and his role is limited. Moreover, he is the patriarch. Only if he is in the same camp as us can we do the next thing well. Carry on. Hearing Chushan's explanation, Shisui was a little embarrassed. After all, Uchiha Fugaku is Uchiha Itachi's father, and he has always regarded Itachi as his biological brother. Now, his best friend who can entrust his life has controlled his younger brother's father. Shisui's kind-hearted nature makes him a little entangled. Of course Uchiha Chushin understood Shisui's temper, and didn't leave him any time to struggle, and directly showed his cards to Shisui. Shisui, I have something very important to ask you next. Please agree to it. Although it may make you harder and suffer some torture, I have carefully calculated it and it is more appropriate for you to do it. When Uchiha Shisui heard what Chushan said, he temporarily put aside the entanglements in his heart and listened to what Uchiha Chushan said calmly. Next, Shisui, please go to hell. Uchiha Chushin stared at Shisui with bright eyes, but what he said made Uchiha Shisui's heart beat uncontrollably. Of course Uchiha Shisui didn't believe that Chushan would do anything bad to him. His heartbeat slowly calmed down and he raised his eyebrows, signaling Chushan to continue talking. Uchiha Choshin saw Shisui's expression and knew that he had not frightened him, so he said with some dissatisfaction. Well, Shisui, even if you're not scared, please cooperate. I told you to die. Aren't you scared? What's your expression? Uchiha Shisui saw Chushan looking a little angry and said with a smile. I don't know you yet, but you want to play tricks on me again. I believe you. Even if you destroy the village, you will not kill me. After hearing Shisui's words, Uchiha Chushin curled his lips in dissatisfaction and explained. Okay, you guessed it right. I have a plan next and I need your cooperation. In this way, our Uchiha clan can turn from passive to active. Uchiha Chushan nodded, indicating that he would cooperate and allowed Chushan to continue talking. Don't third generation Sama already know that you have opened the Mangekyo Sharingan? We can let more people know about it. You said, with Danzo's attitude towards our Uchiha and greed for the Sharingan, if he knows that you have opened it Mangekyo Sharingan, what will happen? Shisui heard what Uchiha Chushin said, and then analyzed it. With Danzo's personality, he should either win over me, or kill me when I am not prepared, and then take my Sharingan away. However, Danzo also knows that I am relatively close to the third generation, so there is a possibility that I will be killed. Uchiha Choshin nodded after hearing Shisui's analysis. Yes, and then I showed up at this time, used this matter to launch an attack, and made a request to move the Uchiha clan away from here, to a place far away from Konoha village. In order to appease us, third generation will definitely agree, then we create the barrier ourselves so that we can escape from Anbu and Gen's surveillance. Uchiha Shisui frowned when he heard Chushan's words and raised an objection. But third generation and Danzo are not fools. They are very cunning. I will never be able to hide it from them if I fake my death. Hearing Shisui's objection, Uchiha looked at him meaningfully. With people as shrewd as third generation and Danzo, plus the secrets of various families in the village, how could you possibly hide it from them if you were faking your own death? Uchiha Shisui was silent for a moment, his eyes as calm as water. I see. And, Shisui, do you know the consequences of your death? Uchiha Uyama continued. Not only will our Uchiha clan escape from our current predicament, but we will also have another pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Shisui's response was quick. Uchiha Itachi. Chushan nodded. The fragment of the future I saw, because of your death, Uchiha Itachi awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Now it seems that with Itachi's talent, his Sharingan should now reach the limit of the 3 Magatama. With his ability to your feelings, if you were murdered for some reason, then the chance of Itachi awakening Mangekyo is very high. Hearing Chushan's words, Uchiha Shisui smiled with some relief. I didn't expect Itachi to be so promising. He awakened Mangekyo Sharingan at a younger age than me. He will definitely be a great strong man in the future. Uchiha Choshin heard Shisui's words and secretly complained in his heart, it is true to become a strong man, but there is a flaw in his mind. He was deceived by the third generation and coupled with the threat of Uchiha Obito, he actually wiped out his family and parents, and he was burdened with a huge burden alone, of hatred, and died alone. Uchiha Itachi is a nice person, but even if he is infected with the mental illness unique to the Uchiha clan and lives in his own world, Uchiha Chushin cannot bear to let him end so badly. However, these things need to be changed slowly, and be more careful. Third Hokage, it shouldn't be a big problem. Uchiha Chushin looked at Shisui. So, Shisui, for Uchiha and for Itachi's Mangekyo, I have to ask you to die for real once. Shisui looked at Uchiha Chushin seriously. Let me confirm again, is there no other way? Do you really need me to die? Chushan also responded seriously, this is the best way. Don't worry, as long as you die, I will definitely fight for the best interests of the Uchiha clan. I will not let the Uchiha clan be exterminated again. I will lead the Uchiha clan. The family moves toward glory. Uchiha Shisui received Chushan's confirmation, a relieved smile appeared on his lips, and he nodded. Okay, I promise you, but you must also protect my body. I don't want it to end up in Danzo's hands. Also, you have to keep my Sharingan. I hope it will be helpful to you in the future. The distinguished heavenly gods in the left eye haven't been used up yet, and they've been entrusted to you. Uchiha Chushin nodded. Don't worry, Shisui, you rest for a few days. I will arrange for someone to release the news that you have activated Mangekyo in a few days. When the time comes, Danzo will definitely come to find you, so you should be careful. Shisui nodded. Since he had just returned from a mission outside the village, he had so many things to do last night and had no rest. Although he was a strong person, he felt a little tired and was ready to go back and have a good rest. Chushan saw that the business was almost done, and Uchiha Shisui also had the intention of leaving, and invited him sincerely. Shisui, we've been busy all night and haven't had breakfast yet. Let's go eat Ichiraku ramen. I'll treat you. Uchiha Okayama has no choice. Although Konoha village is quite big, it is a pity that there are few delicious food. The only ones that can be used are Ichiraku ramen and barbecue. However, who in the right person would go to eat barbecue so early in the morning? Besides, there are also barbecue restaurants at this time. It won't open the door. Therefore, a steaming bowl of ramen with meat and eggs can also be very satisfying, cheering people up and facing the whole day with full energy. Uchiha Shisui didn't like ramen very much, and he was not in the mood to eat it now. He just wanted to go back and rest quietly, so he declined Chushan's invitation and went back alone. Uchiha Chushin also understood Shisui's mood and did not force him anymore. Watching Shisui's figure disappear in the morning light, he was a little depressed that no one accompanied him to dinner. He touched his eyes, which were still slightly warm, and complained dissatisfiedly. Well, if there is no one to accompany me, I will eat by myself. I want to eat the extra-large deluxe version of tonkatsu ramen. As Uchiha Chushin left, muttering towards the village, the usually inaccessible riverside became quiet again. The morning sun shone on the sparkling river, and the scenery was soothing. Although Uchiha Chushin came early in the morning, there were already many people in the Ichiraku ramen noodle shop. As soon as Chushan came in, he shouted, "Uncle Ichiraku, I want a super large deluxe version of ramen." After shouting, Chushan paused, touched his belly, and added, 2 portions, the tonkatsu one and the flavor-enhancing one. Uchiha Chushin is currently growing up, and he consumed a lot last night, so he can still eat 2 super large servings of ramen. Many people who usually come to Ichiraku to eat ramen are ninjas, and the practice and extraction of chakra also consumes a lot of body energy. Especially the Akamaiki family are the biggest eaters among ninjas, so Uncle Ichiraku is a good food for ninjas who can eat very much. I'm used to it, so I wouldn't be surprised at such a request. At most, I'd just look at you twice. Moreover, Uchiha Chushin is also a regular customer of Ichiraku ramen. Since Chushin became a Jonin, the rewards for tasks have increased significantly. In addition, since he has no worries, Chushin has never treated him badly when it comes to food. He often comes to Ichiraku to eat ramen. There are a lot of ingredients added, so Uncle Ichiraku's reaction to Uchiha Chushin's extra-large deluxe version of ramen is also very dull. A chorus, "Come out to help." Seeing that he was too busy, Uncle Ichiraku quickly called his daughter out to help. Uchiha Chushin saw that Uncle Ichiraku was starting to work, so he sat down and waited slowly. He glanced at the customers in the store. Well, there were no acquaintances or people he knew. After only waiting for a short while, Uchiha Chushin's ramen was ready. Iris, who was still small and wearing a white cabinet hat, carefully brought his extra-large deluxe version of ramen over. Put it in front of him, his face was red from the heat of the ramen noodles, and he whispered, Brother Chushan, your noodles are ready, be careful not to burn them. As a regular customer of Ichiraku ramen, Uchiha is naturally very familiar with Uncle Ichiraku and Ichiraku. Every time Uncle Ichiraku is busy, Iris is the one who helps add ingredients and serve the noodles. If Ichiraku hadn't been Ichiraku's daughter, he would have been reported for employment by everyone. Child labor. Uchiha Choshin thanked him and was about to eat the noodles when he noticed that there was one more egg in the bowl than before. He looked up and saw Iris giving him a wink, and then hurriedly went to work again. Looking at the busy little Lolita who was sweating profusely, and then at the extra eggs in his bowl, Uchiha couldn't help but feel happy. While eating the noodles, he joked with Uncle Ichiraku. Uncle Ichiraku, Iris has been so virtuous since he was a child. She is so cute, she must be kept by me, and when she grows up, she will be betrothed to me. Uncle Ichiraku glanced at Iris lovingly, and while busy, Kaido smiled. Chushan, don't tease my daughter. My daughter is still young. Besides, I don't know that although the Uchiha clan does not strictly prohibit intermarriage with foreigners like the Hyuga clan, it is not that easy to marry a foreigner. Not to mention that it is even more impossible for a famous genius like you from the Uchiha clan to be allowed to marry a foreigner. After hearing what Uchiha Chushin and his father said, Iris's already red face turned even redder. She quickly lowered her head to work, but her hands were a little panicked. Uchiha Yamamoto came to tease Iris, but after hearing what Uncle Ichiraku said, he became a little silent. Uncle Ichiraku is right. Even if the elder Mangekyo Sharingan sees him awakening, he will support him wholeheartedly. However, if he wants to marry a foreigner, those stubborn old men will definitely be the first to stop him. But yes, since you have enjoyed the help and convenience that your family has brought to you, you must take on the responsibilities of the family. And blood succession families like Uchiha and Hyuga, in order to maintain the power brought by blood succession, of course must maintain the family lineage pure, so that the blood inheritance of the family will not become thinner and thinner, leading to the demise of the family. Of course, now is not the time to think about these things. It is estimated that by the time Chushan wants to marry a wife, his strength will have reached a level that is unattainable for others. At that time, he will not follow the rules, but make the rules. Thinking of this, Uchiha felt that the noodles in the bowl were a bit more delicious. It should be said that it is a famous food in Konoha village. The noodles are chewy, the soup is rich, and even the ingredients are excellent. Unless you don't like noodles, otherwise, you will definitely fall in love with this Ichiraku ramen. Just when Uchiha Chushin finished the noodles and was drinking soup, Xiao Iris carefully brought the second bowl of noodles over. Uchiha Chushin looked at Iris's red face and said thank you with a smile. After Xiao Chengpu put the noodles away, she quickly glanced at her father and found that he was not paying attention. She quietly tapped the noodles with her fingers to indicate that there was something at the bottom of the bowl. She gave Chushan a bright smile and turned around. Then got busy. Uchiha Chuyama saw Iris's gesture, so he secretly picked up the noodles with chopsticks, and the contents at the bottom of the bowl leaked out. Oh my god, Uchiha Chuyamamoto came here just for the super large deluxe version of ramen. The ingredients were already quite filling. Unexpectedly, another layer was spread at the bottom of the bowl, filled with slices of meat, meat rolls and eggs. Chushan was so frightened that he quickly covered the noodles again, fearing that Uncle Ichiraku would find out and go crazy on the spot. At this moment, Chushan noticed that Ichiraku glanced here. Chushan quickly gave Ichiraku a thumbs up secretly to express his gratitude. After seeing this, Xiao Ichiraku stuck out his tongue naughtily and said back to Chushan while Uncle Ichiraku wasn't paying attention, received. Thanks to Uchiha's efforts, he finally finished the second bowl of the extra-large deluxe version. Yamamoto was a little reluctant to eat the two extra-large portions. The next bowl added so many ingredients, and Uchiha was finally full. After putting down the bowl, Chushan gave a satisfied burp, paid for the meal, said hello to Uncle Ichiraku and Iris, and walked out. At this moment, Uchiha Chushin found a small figure peeking out from the door of the Ichiraku ramen store. This kid was wearing orange clothes, with golden hair, and his body and face were dirty. There was a timid expression on his face, but when his sky-blue eyes looked toward the store, there was an expression of longing. Uchiha Chushin recognized the kid wandering at the door at a glance as the protagonist of Hokage Ninja, son of prophecy, son of fourth Hokage, Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Naruto. But now, he is just a somewhat stunted brat. His identity as the son of the fourth Hokage was hidden by the third Hokage, and his identity as Nine Tails Jinchuriki was revealed, causing the villagers in Konoha village to be full of malice towards him. The food he bought was always expired. He had no parents, no support, and only lonely, scared, he could only endure the bullying silently, and darkness always enveloped him. He was originally the son of a hero, but he was treated like a prisoner. If it weren't for Naruto's identity as Nine Tails Jinchuriki, it would be normal for him to die suddenly one day. Uchiha Chushin sighed silently, but did not approach him. Uchiha already has a tense relationship with the village. As a genius of the Uchiha clan, he can be said to be the representative of the younger generation of Uchiha. If he rashly approaches Nine Tails Jinchuriki, then the already sensitive nerves of the third generation and Danzo will be so stimulated, I don't know what they will do. Moreover, Uchiha Chushin's Sharingan has only reached the level of Mangekyo, and has not yet reached the point where it can control Nine Tails. If you want to wrestle with Nine Tails, or want to suppress it, you must have the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Chushin looked at Uzumaki Naruto's thin body, but what came to mind was the figure of the fourth Hokage, a genius who came out as a civilian, with super talents, extraordinary fighting ability, and a warm treatment from the heart to everyone. If fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato hadn't died before he traveled through time, he would have tried to save his life. Not only because of his friendly attitude towards Uchiha, but also because of his charisma. If the fourth generation hadn't died so early, the relationship between the Uchiha clan and the village would never have been so bad. Uchiha Chushin touched his pocket for the coupon that Uncle Ichiraku had just given him. Since he was a regular customer, not only did he often come here to eat ramen, but it was also more expensive, so Uncle Ichiraku often gave him coupons. Uchiha Chushin didn't look at Uzumaki Naruto anymore and walked straight outside. When passing by Naruto, a dozen coupons fell next to Naruto inadvertently, but Uchiha Chushin didn't seem to feel it. He didn't stop at all and walked towards walk outside. Naruto discovered it when the coupon for Ichiraku ramen fell next to him. Naruto looked at the dozen coupons. There were at least a dozen of them, which was equivalent to more than a dozen bowls of ramen. Naruto looked at the dozen coupons greedily, licked his lips, touched his dry belly, and seemed to smell the faint scent of ramen in his nose. Naruto looked up at the back of Uchiha Chushin, who had just dropped the coupon as he walked further away, and then looked down at the coupon at his feet, as if he was having a fierce ideological struggle. Suddenly, Naruto grabbed the coupon on the ground and pointed at it. The man just chased him. Uchiha Chushin walked slowly in the village of Chaozu. He was so full just now that he just took it as a walk. I just dropped the coupon for Ichiraku ramen next to Naruto, mainly because it was too much to look at. In order to deepen the close relationship between Naruto and him, the third generation spread the news that Naruto is a demon fox. The incarnation caused everyone to isolate him. Although there were people who understood Naruto's identity, such as Ino Shikacho and Hyuga, they did not want to offend the third generation and would not get close to Naruto. They just did not prevent their children from being with him. Naruto played. Uchiha Chushin believes that although he is not a good person, he cannot do such a thing like the third Hokage did in order to control the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Although Uzumaki Naruto is Nine Tails Jinchuriki, he is just a little kid who doesn't understand anything, let alone a child of the fourth Hokage. Moreover, Nine Tails itself is a collection of all kinds of dark sides, hatred, and hatred. If it weren't for Naruto's innate kindness and the influence of Ashura's chakra in his body, Naruto would have long since degenerated into a problem child who hates everything and destroys everything. Uchiha Chushin was still thinking. At this moment, he suddenly heard someone shouting from behind, "Big brother in front, wait a minute, your things have fallen." Uchiha Chushin turned around and found Naruto holding the coupon he had just deliberately dropped in his hand and running over panting. "I can't help but feel a little headache. I lost it on purpose and asked you to pick it up. Why did you come back?" Uchiha Chushin didn't know if Anbu was secretly spying on Naruto. In order not to arouse the sensitive nerves of the third generation and reduce contact with Nine Tails, he could only say with a cold face, "What are you doing, kid?" Uzumaki Naruto has long been accustomed to this attitude and raised the coupon in his hand. Brother, when you came out of Ichiraku Ramen just now, you accidentally dropped your coupon. I'll bring it to you. When Uchiha heard Naruto's words, the coldness on his face dissipated a little. He pretended to touch his pocket to make sure, and then refused. No need, kid. The coupon will expire in 1 month. I have already received a mission and need to leave the village. I won't be back for 2 or 3 months. If you need it, just keep it for yourself. If you don't need it, just keep it. Throw it away for me. With that said, Uchiha turned and left without waiting for Naruto's reaction. Naruto saw the big brother in front of him turn around and walk away after speaking. He didn't know whether he should chase him or not. While he was hesitating, Naruto's stomach suddenly growled. His stomach was about to revolt after not having a full meal for 2 days. Naruto originally planned to smell the aroma at the door of Ichiraku Ramen and then go to the river to catch fish to fill his stomach, but he didn't expect to have an unexpected harvest. Knowing that these coupons were not wanted by the older brother, Naruto felt relieved and kept them for himself. Naruto opened the tightly held coupon in his hand. Due to too much force, the coupon had some wrinkles. Naruto happily started counting. 1, 2, 3. The more Naruto counted, the brighter his eyes became. There were 20 in total, and they were all large ramen coupons. Naruto was very happy to have picked up such a huge amount of money for the first time. He carefully pulled out one piece and put the rest in his pocket. He happily trotted to the Ichiraku Ramen shop, holding the coupon. He shouted loudly, "Uncle Ichiraku, have a big portion of ramen." The encounter with Uzumaki Naruto was just a small episode, and Uchiha Chushin didn't care. Let Uchiha Sasuke fall in love with him in the future. As the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura, they are destined to be entangled throughout their lives. Uchiha walked quickly into his home. It's just an ordinary house with a small yard. Uchiha Chushin's parents are relatively ordinary members of the Uchiha clan. His father was an ordinary Jonin, and his mother was a Chunin. They died in a mission when Chushan was 9 years old. Therefore, they did not leave him much inheritance, and the house left to him was also the same. An ordinary house for a family of 3. After Uchiha Chushin opened the door to the room and walked in, he couldn't help but rub his eyes. As the 8 hours mentioned by the system were getting closer and closer, Uchiha Chushin felt that his eyes were getting hotter and swollen, and sometimes he could feel the blood vessels beating next to his eyes. Uchiha Chushin can feel that it is because the power of his Sharingan's eyes is getting more and more with the awakening of his own eye skills, and as the power of his eyes increases, his Mangekyo Sharingan feels a little stretched. That's why my eyes felt hot and swollen. As time went by, Uchiha Chushin felt that his pupil skills were about to awaken, and as his pupil power increased, his eyes had uncontrollably turned on the 3 Tomo Sharingan state, and the 3 Magatama turned faster and faster. It seems that this way the extra eye energy can be absorbed. Sharingan's 3 Magatama turned faster and faster, and when Uchiha Chushin wondered if his eyes were going to burst, the 3 Magatama seemed to melt, changed its shape, and outlined a brand new shape, and Uchiha Shisui's Mangekyo is somewhat similar, but the inside is hollowed out, and it also looks a bit like Uchiha Obito's. The ends of the pattern are slightly connected, but it may be due to the hollowing out. It appears to be much more delicate than Shisui and Obito's Mangekyo. As Uchiha Choshin's Mangekyo pattern appeared, the voice of the system also sounded in Choshin's mind. Congratulations host, your Mangekyo Sharingan has finally awakened. Please check the specific functions yourself. Warning, warning, after system verification, with the completion of the awakening of the host's Mangekyo Sharingan and the completion of the pupil technique, the host's Mangekyo Sharingan has reached the limit of Mangekyo. Please do not copy it again before the host's Sharingan evolves into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Learn the Mangekyo Eye technique. Hearing the system's warning, Uchiha Chushin was a little surprised and speechless. He didn't expect that his Sharingan would reach the limit of Mangekyo so quickly. Uchiha Chushin touched his eyes, which still felt a little swollen, and turned off Mangekyo Sharingan, and his eyes returned to dark pupils. Uchiha Chushin blinked his eyes to relieve the soreness in his eyes. He felt that the problem was not serious and would return to normal once his eyes got used to it. Immediately afterwards, Uchiha Chushin closed his eyes and examined his own pupil technique. In fact, you don't have to close your eyes, it just looks dull. As expected, Sharingan is indeed the eye of the soul. The condition for opening Mangekyo is the strong emotional fluctuations of the owner of Sharingan, such as the tragic death of a loved one, the murder of a loved one, betrayal, etc., because most violent emotions fluctuations are all negative emotions, so second Hokage thinks that the Uchiha clan is an evil clan. With the opening of Mangekyo Sharingan, bad things happen, so Sharingan is an ominous force. However, second Hokage did not think deeply. It is because the Uchiha family loves deeply, so when they lose love, their emotions will fluctuate greatly and they will go to extremes. Sharingan is also called the eye of spiritual reflection. It will awaken the corresponding pupil technique according to your strong desire when awakening Mangekyo Sharingan. For example, Obito, I want to create a world with Lin, so he has a space pupil technique. Shisui hopes that the village and his tribe can live in peace, so he awakens the ultimate illusion technique. Under the prompts of the system, Uchiha Chushin has been silently hinting to himself in his heart, and he has indeed obtained the pupil technique he wanted, the copying pupil. It has the same name as the pupil technique that Uchiha Chushin used to fool Uchiha Shisui before, and has similar functions. It may be due to systematic reasons that the pupil technique he awakened can no longer replicate the Mangekyo pupil technique, but it has reached an unexpectedly powerful limit in its function of replicating other blood successor boundaries. Now, wherever his Mangekyo Sharingan looks, he can see through illusions and reach the essence, whether it is blood succession limits, secret techniques, or the kind of ninjutsu that extraordinary people can learn, as long as he is given time or looks. The entire process of performing the surgery can be copied. However, although the pupil technique is very powerful and has a wide range of applications, it still has limitations. The blood succession limit cannot be copied without limit. In addition to the Sharingan blood succession limit of Uchiha Chu Yamamoto, 6 types of blood succession limits can be copied. This is the limit that the Mangekyo Sharingan can be copied. However, with the upgrade of the Mangekyo Sharingan to the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, or Rinnegan, the number that can be copied should be increased. In fact, there are levels of blood succession limits, such as Senju Hashirama's Wood Style, Uchiha's Sharingan, Old Man Tsuchikage's Dust Release, Mizukage Terumi Mei's Lava Style, and Boil Style, all of which belong to the top level of blood succession limits. However, the Scorch Style of Moonlight Hayate and Sand Shinobi Village Leaf Store's Scorch Style are slightly lower than Wood Style and Dust Release. Of course, there are no useless successors, only useless people. Even if you have Wood Style, can you guarantee that you can become the second Senju Hashirama? The limitation of this pupil technique is that it cannot copy a blood successor limit with a higher level than it. Of course, in the current Hokage world, we can pretend that this restriction does not exist, because there is no blood successor limit with a higher level than Sharingan yet. Uchiha Okuyama's Mangekyo Sharingan is different from the previous 3 Tomo Sharingan. As a higher level Sharingan, the pupil technique awakened, various blood inheritance limits, secret techniques, and ninjutsu in the ninja world can basically be copied, and can feedback itself. Uchiha Chushin almost jumped for joy when he saw this. You must know that in the ninja world, there are not only many bloody realms that even he drools over, but also many powerful ninjutsu that 3 Tomo Sharingan alone cannot copy and learn. For example, Hokage's series, which strengthens one's own lightning style, and the flying ninjutsu, which is relatively rare in the entire ninja world, Tsuchikage's light and heavy rock technique, and 4th Hokage's famous stunt flying thunder god, all of which made Uchiha Chushin ninjutsu that I have been thinking about for a long time. These ninjutsu are either top secrets belonging to other ninja villages, or they are very demanding to learn and require very high talents. And Uchiha Chushin relies on his Mangekyo pupil technique. As long as he sees it, he can easily learn it. These ninjutsu are comparable to the blood successor boundary. No matter which one he learns, he can use it. The survivability of Uchiha Hills has been greatly increased. Moreover, if you learn it, you will earn it. Because these ninjutsu are not limited by blood inheritance, there is no limit on the number, and there is no conflict with each other and they can complement each other. As for secret arts, aren't there many in Konoha village? The most famous and outstanding one should be the Ino-Shika-Cho combination. Except for the Akamiki clan's secret technique, which is related to the Yang attribute chakra, and Uchiha Chushin, the secret techniques of the three families are temporarily difficult to learn, and the rest are Nara. The Shadow Mimicry Technique series of the clan is also the Heart Turn technique of the Yamanaka clan. It should be easy for Uchiha Uyama, who has sufficient yin attribute chakra, to copy it. Moreover, if your enemy is good at escaping ninjutsu or secret techniques, then if he can escape in front of you once, he will not be able to escape a second time, because you have already understood his ability when he escaped the first time. Ninjutsu. Like the saint said, you can never beat me twice with the same move. Uchiha Choshin is very satisfied with this pupil technique. He now has no shortage of powerful ninjutsu. The most powerful genjutsu is Distinguished Heavenly Gods. The physical attack can open Gundam and Susanoo, so he is currently lacking this kind of ninjutsu that can improve his shortcomings. Adding various tricks to the pupil technique, and only by making up for one's own shortcomings, or weaknesses, can one go further on the road of ninja. Then, Uchiha Chushin checked the pupil technique of his other Mangekyo. Eye technique, Takamagahara, a space eye art that has always been rare in the Uchiha clan. Similar to Kamui, this Takamagahara is also a space eye art. The eye art connects an island in an unknown space. As long as Uchiha Choshin activates the pupil technique, he can come to the island in this space. The difference from Kamui space is that there are day and night in this space. There are water sources and plants on the island, but there are no animals. The difference between Takamagahara and Kamui is that Takamagahara does not have a hollow, which means that he does not have the ability to put part of his body in space when he is attacked. Compared with Kamui, Takamagahara can use Sharingan to mark space imprints, and this space imprint is invisible. It can be marked on physical objects or in the void. As long as there is a space imprint, no matter how far away, Uchiha Hills can be reached in an instant. More convenient than Flying Thunder God. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.